Ta-da! Ta-da! Da da da. Oh, isn't there a
Anybody gets on his app.
Isn't there like a what's the Rugrats ba ba sound? Isn't that like a thing? That's what I was just trying to do. Hmm. Did you get some sleep? I mean, yeah, I slept all right. Don't mind me just getting my phone plug. Howdy, howdy, everybody. How's my tooth feeling? It's worse. I mean, I'm not looking forward to the root canal, but I'm looking forward to it not being a problem anymore, so that'd be good. It feels like it's the whole left side of my mouth. Which, you know, not a pleasant feeling. Neutrinos stream when? Neutrinos are always streaming, my guy. They always be streaming. I want to make sure that, from Gretchen with $3.11. Hi, Blitz here. No need to read this. Oh. That feeling when you read the thing before you're supposed to read the thing. Right? If only I had paid attention. If only. Root canal is better than getting a tooth pulled. Yeah, that's what I've heard. Is it office hours or opposition? I'm getting mixed messages. Who said it's office hours? It's Thursday. Who said it's office hours? It's Thursday. What? Yeah, it's Thursday. Who said it's office hours? It's definitely Thursday, not Friday. For what it's worth. It's not Friday. Okay, well, it might be Friday in some part of the world, but it's not Friday here. What title? The title says that it's... Doesn't the title say convince an atheist? Or alternatively, if you were on... It says it on YouTube? Office hours? Hold on. What? Yeah, it says convince an atheist. Office hours with Dr. Blitz. That's what it's always been called. Being gaslit. Depends on what live stream or what whether you're on vertical or horizontal. On horizontal or on vertical, it's always been on atheist days. It's always been convince an atheist office hours. All right, let's bring up our first guest. Our first guest's name is Genuine, so I hope that they are genuine. Genuine, how's it going?
Hello, man. Well, my proof for creation would be, which is pretty much proving God, would be that the gases we're breathing here on the earth, if there was no creation and there was no container on earth, then it would just fill the vacuum of space and everybody would die.
Why would that happen?
Because high pressure seeks low pressure, then all the gases that we have on Earth will fill the vacuum. If you have gas next to a vacuum and you open a valve, the gas will fill the vacuum.
Well, unless
So
there's
it's
something
pretty
keeping it
much the
in,
same.
right?
Huh?
Unless there's something keeping it in, right?
Correct, like a container.
Like gravity.
Well, sure, that's a claim that you cannot prove.
Sure, I can. There's tons of experimental evidence that demonstrates its validity.
Can you demonstrate gravity holding gases down?
Sure.
All right, go ahead.
Oh, well, you mean like with my
Because I
hands
can-
in my
I can-
room?
No, like if you can show
Yeah, I
me
mean
a
like
proof.
like any sufficiently large tube will show a gradation of pressure.
Have
whether
you
it's
ever
open at the
made
top or
a
not.
container using gravity?
Sorry, have I ever made a what?
A container using gravity.
Have I ever made one? Well, I haven't personally, no. Have you ever made a container using metal?
I use a container using physical.
No, I'm asking, have you ever
Unreal.
made one?
Yes,
That's like airtight?
I made a container. I did not make a vacuum, but I did make it.
Okay, so then like why should I think that like vacuums exist if you've never made one? You know, it's kind of a bummer that your name says genuine despite not being genuine.
Am I not being genuine saying that gravity?
Very much so, yeah.
is-
I mean, gravity is
What is your
fundamentally something that's been experimentally shown to exist. But suppose for a moment that the Earth was a sphere and it was surrounded by say a glass sphere. So like there's the sphere and then there's the glass sphere around it, keeping all of the air in, and gravity's not real. Suppose for a moment that's true. How does that mean that God's real?
So you mean that there's a container on Earth that is
Yeah,
physical?
so I'm saying suppose that's true. How does that mean that God's real?
Well, that would claim that the Earth is geocentric, so that would prove God.
It wouldn't prove that the Earth is geocentric.
Yes, you're making something that has a design, and you're saying it's just.
How do you know it? How do you know the designer's God?
Well,
Could be aliens.
you can call it God, but if there's a design, there gotta be a creator, and that's
Yeah, it
what
could be
we call
aliens.
God, right? The,
Could be aliens, right? Maybe aliens built our planet.
what do you mean alien? What is an alien? What is an alien for you?
Yeah, some organic being that lives on another planet.
So you think aliens are real, and
I think
There's
it's
a
more
lot of,
plausible that aliens are
life.
real than God's real.
right? Because you believe in something that you cannot prove.
Oh, that's a crazy claim to make when you're a flat earther.
Who said I'm a flat earther? I'm geocentric.
I did.
Cool.
Can you prove that God's real?
Even I did.
Well, no, you just asked the question. What's the proof that God's real?
Right, you made a claim that you cannot prove. And
Yeah,
you
so
said
did you.
that if there was a container, right? You said before.
Yeah, so I'm granting you that there is a container that keeps the air in. Because I'm granting your
Oh, so I'm
misunderstanding of
telling
gravity,
you
I'm
that's
granting
a
your
design.
misunderstanding of thermodynamics, I'm granting your misunderstanding of the ideal gas law. Suppose that the Earth is just contained by a giant glass sphere. How does that mean that a God's real?
Because it has a design, and if it has a design, it has.
How
a
does that mean
creator.
that how does that mean that God's real? How do you know that the creator is a God?
Because that's what it is. The creator is God itself.
Oh, okay, so
Like,
you don't think that
I
God
don't
created
know
the
what you
universe, you think
understand
God just
from
created
God.
the Earth?
I don't believe in any religions, but that does not mean that God is not real.
Well, I mean, you haven't proved that God is real, that's the problem.
Yes, and I gave you that if there's a
No,
design,
you
that is
just kind of asserted it, you didn't prove it. That's the problem.
well. So if you go
You just
into
said, well, if it was
forest-
created, then that's a God. Well, prove it.
if you go into a forest and you see a house, would you
Oh,
say that
this sounds
the
like it's
house
going to
was
be a good
designed by
question and
someone,
not
or-
a proof. What's the proof?
I'm telling you, if there's a building in the forest, did it had a creator or?
I'm sorry, is a
came
proof a
from-
question or is a proof like a collection of arguments and facts?
It's a proof of that if there's a design that has to be
Is
creator.
it a proof if it's a question?
It's the physical world, the real world.
Okay, so you're not going to prove that God exists?
You just don't want to accept because you're
No, you just
like,
asked the question. You didn't prove
closed.
anything. Asking a
You're
question
just
isn't the same as
closed.
proving anything. Do you know the difference between asking a question and proving something?
It's correlated.
Asking a question is correlated with proving something? Hi, how are you? Is that correlated with proving something?
How do you have a design without a creator?
That's a cool question. Do you want to offer a proof?
Tell me, how can you make something without a creator?
Why not give me a proof rather than asking a question?
Answer the question.
I've been asking you to give me a proof for now 5 minutes, and you just keep asking questions again.
Is my question answering your...
Your question is not a proof. A proof is not a question. A proof is a statement of arguments and facts. It's a collection of arguments and facts, more specifically.
What is a fact? That if I create something...
You really don't know what a fact is?
So if someone makes a building in a forest, is that a fact?
If someone makes a building in a forest, is that a fact? That would be an event?
Yes. If someone made a house in the forest,
that would be an event.
Would that be real?
If they really did it, yeah.
Okay, so
now where's your proof? The proof is a collection of facts and arguments.
Yeah, you cannot make something without a creator.
Okay, why should I believe that?
Well, proof that you can make something without a creator.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not going to let you shift the burden. You made an assertion. I'm asking you for the reason I should believe that assertion. You can't just say, oh, well, why is the assertion wrong? That's not how argumentation works. It's not how debate works. It couldn't be any other way. Okay, so why should I believe that? Why should I believe that there's no other way that a thing could be created without a creator?
That's how the world works.
Okay, so this is just like assertion after assertion after assertion? Well, you're not actually going to give me any like arguments here or any justification?
Make something. If to design something you need a creator, or you can make something out of no creator.
Sorry, who said anything about design?
Me, all this time.
Oh, okay, well, but I don't grant that anything is designed. Well, except the things that humans design, of course. I think that humans design things, but I don't grant that, like, the world is designed.
Oh. And how do you have a pattern in the sky? You have events happening, you have connection.
Yep, that's all true. We do have events happening. We do have connections. Why does that mean design?
What is a design for you? What would you call a design?
So I would call a design an intentional act of creation.
Right, like the world you live in, right?
No, I don't think that the world I live in was intentionally created.
Perfect for you.
I don't think everything's working perfect. No, absolutely not.
No, you have no food to eat. You have no water to drink. You have your internal body working.
Is food and water? No, my internal body is not working. Is food and water the only things that are involved in life?
Is what you need to keep living. Do you have oxygen to keep breathing?
Sure.
Don't you have everything you need to live?
No.
Do you have a consciousness?
Sure.
Can you say I am?
Sure.
Then you're a fractal of God himself.
That's a cool assertion again. Why should I think that the world is designed?
You can see the patterns out there.
So patterns mean design? What about for a crystal in a cave? How does a crystal in a cave imply design when we know that crystals form just by water dropping from the ceiling? There's no design involved there. There's no intention. It just happens as a result of gravity, actually. Funnily enough.
Out of no creation.
Sorry, what?
It happens out of nothing, no creation.
I didn't say it happens out of nothing. It just it's not intentional.
how is it happening then? If it was,
Because
if it didn't have a starting
it's
point,
happening
how
because
did
of the
it
water cycle and gravity.
Oh, so you're making claims again that you cannot prove, like gravity.
Oh, I can prove it, but you just wouldn't like the evidence. I can offer you tons and tons of pieces of evidence that provide that provide adequate justification for someone to believe that gravity exists.
And you didn't provide anything.
Sorry?
You said the same, that gravity could hold gases, and you didn't provide me anything.
Yeah, I mean, I can provide you an example of a proof of gravity if you want.
Yeah,
But
I
we're
asked
kind
you
of just
for a
going back to where we
container.
started.
I asked you for a container using gravity, and you just
Yeah. So I can show you that too if you want. It's just a little bit off topic.
is within the creation.
What?
Everything that you're living, it's inside of the creation.
You keep saying these words. I'm not granting these words.
The real world, man.
That's cool. I'm sure that you believe that. I'm asking why I should believe it.
Try. Have you ever tried?
Have I ever tried to believe it? Why would I try to believe something that I think is false?
You think it's false because you perceive the reality.
Because
another mind
I'm generally pretty good at thinking. That's why I perceive it as false. That's why I think it's false.
So you'd be sure that there's no good? Would you put your
Yeah,
life?
pretty sure.
You'd say it's 100% no good?
No, I never said 100%. I said I'm pretty sure.
I know, I'm asking.
I'd be like 98, 99%.
98, right? Because you want to believe, you have the little space in your brain.
Are you sure that there's a God?
Because you want to believe.
Are you sure that there's a God 100%?
Yes, that there's
Okay.
a creator.
How do you know you're not
but
hallucinating the
fact
entire
that there's a
universe?
creator, the fact that there's a creator does not mean is a good creator, is a bad creator.
That wasn't my
is-
claim. How do you know that you're not hallucinating everything?
What? Can you repeat?
How do you know you're not hallucinating everything?
Hallucinating?
Yeah. How do you know you're not hallucinating everything?
Because I see the world.
You know you're not hallucinating everything because you see the world? How do you know you're actually seeing the world?
I perceive my reality.
How do you know it's actually reality?
It's the same thing as you're perceiving, if you want to call it
Well, I'm not
another-
making the claim that I'm not making the claim that I'm 100% certain of God not existing. You're making the claim that you're 100% certain. So how can you
I'm
rule out that you're not
100% sure
hallucinating?
of creation.
Yeah, how can you rule out that this isn't all a hallucination?
How do you have something without creation?
That's just a question. Why aren't you answering my questions? I've asked you a very specific question and you're like, well, let me answer your question with a question.
All right, repeat.
How do you know that everything you know about the world isn't a hallucination?
I know that I understand my reality. It could be some
Okay,
sort
we're just
of
asserting it again.
simulation. I know reality, yeah. I perceive it just like you. I don't know what's your point, man.
My point is I find it very, very implausible that you can be reasonably 100% certain that a God exists when you can't even be 100% certain that I exist.
I'm sorry, can you I want to Can you repeat your last question?
I'm skeptical that you can be 100% certain that a God exists when you can't even be 100% certain that I exist.
No, I am 100% sure that there's a creation because you cannot have something without being created before.
Do you
So
wait a
matter
minute, I'm
has to be
sorry.
created
Was
for
God created?
it to be. Huh?
Was God created?
Yes.
Okay, so you think that there's just an infinite chain of gods?
No.
So then
I don't know.
you think that there's a thing that wasn't created?
That goes beyond your understanding and mine.
Okay, so now it's just a mystery. But look, you believe that anything that exists must have been created. If God exists, then God must have been created. And whatever created God itself must have been created.
The definition of God is like pretty much he created himself.
Can a thing create itself?
The definition of God?
Can anything
Yes.
create itself?
Supernatural, yes.
So supernatural things can create themselves?
Yes, not natural things.
Not, did you say not real things?
Not natural things.
Okay. Why should I think that supernatural things can create themselves?
Why wouldn't you?
Well, I generally don't believe things unless I have a reason to believe them.
Right, because you believe, and I understand your point, because
I'm not sure you do.
you believe that we're just as human, we're a little dot in the big universe, right?
Sure.
In the infinite universe.
I'm not sure if the universe is infinite, but sure.
And I understand, but nothing in our reality says that. It says that we are the center of creation. As you look up into the sky, you know?
I don't see how it says that.
Well, we have stars, moon,
Yeah.
and the sun revolving around us infinitely.
Oh, well, but they don't. That's the awkward
Oh,
thing.
they don't?
No.
Oh, so have you ever went to see a sunset?
I've definitely seen a sunset. In fact, I've seen a sunset from Mars.
Right.
And on Mars, it looks like the
You
sun's
see a
going around
sunset from
Mars.
Mars?
Yeah.
You saw a sunset from Mars?
Yeah, want me to show you?
Yeah, I could. That would be cool.
Sure, let me show you. Sorry, 1 second, pulling it up.
You when did you go to Mars?
Oh, you know, just a few years
Like
ago.
on a holiday, like 2 to 3 days.
Yeah. Here you go.
Okay.
I took this myself. See it? Sunset on Mars.
That's everything you have, a picture?
Well, what do you want me to do? If you want me to show you a picture that I took? I mean, that's a picture that I
Oh,
took.
like a video of a sunset, like we see.
I didn't take a video.
Okay, can you show it?
I didn't take a video. I took a picture.
Oh, so you went to Mars and you didn't even take a video?
I didn't take a video of the sunset.
Oh, okay. Why are you playing though?
I'm not. Why would you think I didn't go to Mars?
Because no human ever went to Mars or to the moon, brother.
Oh, but I did.
So you're lying now?
No, I'm just saying what's true. You can't have a picture of a sunset on Mars without going to Mars.
Oh yeah, you can ask AI to make you one for sure. I could make one for you in.
Oh, but you can't have a picture of a sunset on Mars without going to Mars, just like how you can't have a creation without a creator.
Correct. But you need to
So
go
you
to
can't have a
Mars.
picture of sunset on Mars without going to Mars. It's the same
Because you
thing.
didn't- Because you're asking AI to do it, my friend.
No, I didn't ask AI to do it. I took the picture myself.
Yes, you did, because you didn't go to.
Oh, prove it.
Prove to me you did.
No, I'm sorry, I asked you first. Prove it.
You are making a claim that is not real. If I tell to you that.
Oh, likewise, you're making a claim that's not real. It's almost like we're both doing the same thing.
I'm making a claim that is not real.
Yeah.
What claim did I make that is not real?
Plenty. That the universe revolves around the Earth, that
Wait, so
everything
is
is
that a-
designed,
Prove me wrong.
that supernatural
prove me
things can
wrong.
create themselves. Plenty of claims that are not real.
Can you prove me wrong that the whole universe is not revolving around?
Can you
sun
prove
when
me
look
wrong
up
that I
into
didn't
the
go to
sky?
Mars?
Well, you can go outside and see the night every day, and you'll see the same stars, day after
Okay.
day.
Yeah, and I went to Mars and I saw the sunset there.
Why are you lying? I'm telling you something that you can see every day of your life.
Look, man, if you can't prove me wrong, I don't know, it seems like I'm right.
Well, you want me to show you a video of everything revolving
No,
around the Earth?
I want you to prove that I didn't go to Mars.
No, you're making a not real claim.
Are you telling
So
me
if
that
I
if I
say-
make it... Wait a minute, hold on. Genuine, are you telling me that if I make a claim, I have to prove it?
No, I'm claiming that if I say that Spider-Man is real, then I gotta prove it.
Oh, so it sounds like what you're saying is that whoever makes the claim has to prove the claim. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly right. When I'm saying you to
Exactly.
go
So when
outside-
you say that the whole world is designed, it sounds like you have to prove that the whole world is designed.
Yes, so that's what I mean. Go outside and see.
Oh, okay.
the
So
universe
what's the proof that the
revolving
whole
around you,
world is
see the moon-
designed?
See the moon revolving same size. This moon
It's like
and the
he
sun.
walked up to the
It was
point
revolving
and then
around
just kept on
Spider-Man.
walking.
What?
So you made the claim that the whole world is designed. So can you
I'm
back
telling
up
how
the
to
claim?
prove it. I am telling you how to prove it.
Mm-hmm. How do I prove that the whole world is designed?
Go outside and watch the sky. Go
Yeah.
do it for a year. Every night you're gonna see the same stars revolving around you. You're the
Oh,
center
that's
of
funny.
creation.
No, you don't.
Therefore, if you were
Wait,
revolving
why
in
can't
outer
why can't I
space-
see why can't I see the Cancer constellation at the end of June? I thought I was supposed to see the same stars every night.
day
It seems like
after
your
year?
proof that the whole world is designed is false because you can't see the same stars every
Whoa,
night.
so you don't see it year after year?
Oh, you can see it year after year, absolutely.
Okay, then therefore there's a design, no?
How does that mean that there's a design? Just because we see the same stars year over year? Why would that mean that it's designed?
It means that you're the center of creation, therefore there's a
How does it
creator.
mean that?
Because
If the Earth wasn't the center of creation, you would still see the same stars year over year.
no, that's
Why
a
not?
claim that you can prove because you are
Yeah,
the center
I
of
can just draw a diagram for you if that would help. Regardless of where you are, whether you're at the center or not, if the Earth goes around the sun, which is what we're talking about when we're talking about a year, then from the Earth's perspective, you will see the same stars at the same time of year, regardless of whether you're in the middle or not.
No, that's a claim that you cannot prove because you
I
cannot
just
prove that
explained
there-
it to you how it works. I can draw you a diagram if that would help. Would that
Yeah,
help? Want me to draw you a
cannot
diagram?
prove- Yes, we cannot prove that the Earth
Do
is
you want me to draw you a
revolving around the sun.
diagram?
There's no proof for heliocentrism.
Oh, sure there is.
Sure, there's not.
In fact, the proof for heliocentrism is the fact that we only see some stars at some times of the year. That is the proof for heliocentrism. But let me
No.
just draw you a picture really quick, because maybe
You're
maybe a
lying.
picture will help you.
Oh, go ahead.
I want to make a bigger brush.
Go ahead, bro.
I'm trying, but for some reason the line thickness is too small. Marker. Okay, there we go.
So you serve the Black Novel.
What?
And the Vatican also.
What are you talking about? Why can't I draw a line or a dot?
So to draw a line, do you need to start the line?
What are you talking about?
Yes, you're saying that you are gonna draw a line. So to draw a line,
Bro's
do you need to start
baked.
at some point?
Bro is baked.
What?
You heard me. Okay, we'll just draw some circles then for the stars. Okay, so each circle is going to be a star. Oops.
Oh my God, sir. You're just gonna prove yourself wrong. But go
We're just drawing. So pretend that this is the universe, right? For the sake of argument. Now, if you're at the middle, let's say that you're at the middle. Say Earth is right here, right? Middle of the middle. Well, over the course of a year, as you go around the sun, of course. Well, I should probably draw the sun first, I guess. Let's draw the sun first. The sun will be the little yellow dot. Obviously not to scale, but you'll get my point. Well, at least I hope you will. I don't actually know if you will, but, you know, we'll do our best. So here's Earth. not to scale, obviously. Now, when the Earth is on this side of the sun, you'll see these stars. And when the Earth is on this side of the sun, you'll see these stars. Now, if I take this whole thing, and if I take this whole thing, and I move it over here, well, when the Earth is on this side of the sun, you'll see these stars, and when the Earth is on this side of the sun, you'll see these stars. And so the point is regardless of whether you're at the middle or not, you'll see the same stars year over year. Regardless of whether you're in the middle or not.
No, that's not true.
Oh, okay. Well, which part of the diagram is false?
I can prove you why. You know the audience belt? Do you know the audience belt?
Do I know the audience poke?
Orion's belt.
Orion's belt, yeah.
Alright, so do you know that those are aligned with the pyramids of Giza?
Want to bet?
So if they were built at least 2,000 years ago, if they were built 2,000 years ago...
Do you want to bet that they're aligned? How much money do you want to bet?
Well, how much money do you want to bet?
$100. Right now. $100 that they're aligned. That all three of the stars in Orion's belt are aligned with the pyramids.
They are aligned at some point.
Okay, so they're not aligned?
Yes, at some point they are aligned. They're perfectly. The three stars are.
You want to bet?
On top of the pyramid. Yes.
Okay. How much money? $100?
Let's 1,000.
Okay. Okay. Do you have my Cash App, by the way? Because here is an overlay of the pyramids and Orion's belt. Does that look aligned to you?
What is this?
This is an overlay of the pyramids with Orion's belt.
What is this cartoon that you're showing me?
This is an overlay of the pyramids with Orion's belt. So, by the way, my Cash App is a $PhD. I'll be expecting the $1,000 shortly, by the way.
Wait, but can you show me from like a real picture?
So this is a real picture of the sky, and then overlaid on top of it are the pyramids.
No, but I mean like a time lapse of like the stars in the whole night.
A time lapse of the stars in the whole. I don't. What would that have to do with the pyramids?
At some point, at some view, they are aligned.
There's no way to actually make the pyramids aligned, because the pyramids are more in a, I mean, we can just check this, but the pyramids are more or less in a straight line than Orion's belt are. See, like you can, let me show you what I mean. So if we draw a straight line connecting two of the pyramids, right, which is a normal thing that you could do. If we draw a straight line connecting here to here, well, we can just connect the middle to the middle if you want. The middle to the middle. What you'll find is that the pyramids don't form a pair of straight lines, right? So, and then if we do another line connecting here to here, they're not aligned as well as the stars are. Now the stars are aligned, so the pyramids form this line, and then there's an angle. See how there's an angle? Whereas the stars do this. They start off on the same line, but then there's a different angle. So they can't be aligned at all because the angles are different. So I'll expect the $1,000. The Cash App is $PhD. Sorry, $Blitz PhD. That's my name. I'll expect the $1,000, in a few minutes. Obviously, you have to open the app and stuff. Until then, have a good one, Genuine. What an interesting and non-genuine... Yeah, he's never sending it. Of course not. Of course he's not sending it. Why would he send it? Let's read some super chats if we have any. If I had any. From Grimmy with the $5. Oh shit, is Guest a believer of the God's Petri dish argument? Flat Earth model? Yeah, he is. Of course he is. All right, let's move on to our next guest. I just want to double check something on, make sure that these are working. All right, great. Let's bring up, somebody was being loud in the comments. I'd bet 100 I can show you who put life here. James, you should join the guest box. You should join on Discord. No? Let's talk to Tick Clock Time. I think that Tick Clock Time was on earlier and he didn't get in. He didn't have enough time. Tick Clock Time, how's it going?
Hey, what's up? Blitz.
Not a whole lot. Tick Clock Time, do you believe in God?
I do believe in God and also flat Earth. So which one you wanna?
Today we're talking
Because
about
I
God.
locked you from. Oh my God. Okay, so look, I'm not ready for that, but I can only one thing say. Next time maybe I come back. Trump is the Messiah. So you guys, you cannot how to fix this. So he's the
Okay.
Messiah, Abrahamic.
Feel free to come back when you're ready. Until then, let's bring in a guest from Discord. James, how's it going?
How are we doing? Chill and vibe, and thank you very much. How about you?
Oh, James, we've spoken before, haven't we? Quite recently?
Most likely, most definitely, maybe.
Well, I mean, I know that we've spoken before because I personally adjusted your volume last time, so I'm going to let you go because I'm trying to bring up new guests, but thank you for being here. All right, let us talk to Dulcim.
Hello.
Dulcim, how's it going?
How's it going? Thank you for letting me speak. No, I'm gonna
Dawson, do you
show
believe
my
in God?
point of view. Why the? Yeah, of course I believe in God.
Okay, why should I believe in God?
I am Muslim, so I'm gonna tell you my idea of God. The word Allah, first of all, means the only one God in Arabic. Like there is one God and no God besides Him. And I'm gonna show you why this is the right idea to believe in.
Why?
So-
Yeah, why should I believe that God exists?
Okay, I'm gonna prove to you why God exists first. So after that, I'm gonna show you why you should believe in it. So first of all, how does the human knowledge get built over time? How do I know something exists and something doesn't exist? First of all, there's the five senses, which is you can see, you can smell, you can taste. That's the first step of knowledge. Then there is the second step of knowledge, like how do we as humans
Dulcim, just a quick
recognize
question.
that
How
there
old
is
are
a
you?
dark matter?
How old are you, Dulcim?
Yes, 18.
What year?
18.
What year were you born?
Born 2008, March
Okay.
the 17th.
Okay, just checking. Go ahead, continue.
18. Okay. That's how knowledge is built. There is the five senses. The second step is we use common sense. You know, like how does humans believe that there is a dark matter? Because we can see its effects on us. We as humans can make sure like there's this something has design in it and something doesn't have design in it. Like when I see a laptop, I see smart design. When I see a rock, I probably think that there is no like smart design behind it. That's
Right.
the
Okay.
first.
Great. I'm glad we agree.
step of,
So there are some things
how-
in the
how
world
you
that are
can-
designed, and some things in the world that aren't designed.
Yes.
So it seems like the things in the world that are designed
No,
are the
I
things
said
that humans
how
design. But the things in the world that aren't designed are the things that humans didn't design. So it looks like our universe is not designed.
No, you didn't get
At
my
least
point.
parts of it.
No, it does.
I
It
mean,
is designed.
you said to use common
Can-
sense,
can
and
we look
common
at
sense
our-
says that rocks are not
Yes.
designed.
Yes.
They're just like lumps of minerals. They don't look
said designed.
don't look designed
I
to
said
me.
Designed by human design. We
They
can't.
don't look designed at all.
No, we can make sure that it is. Well, we can also look at DNA and see smart design. Can we or not? Can we?
Well,
Like
I don't
for
think
sure,
so.
you look
DNA
at
has a
human
lot of
DNA.
issues.
You see things that should be. And I think so.
DNA has a lot of
No,
issues.
there is actually what you talk about. You talk about junk DNA. Where first of all,
I wasn't
that's not
talking
true.
about junk DNA.
You know why? Because that what you talking about?
I was talking about the failures in telomere placement, in particular in the, I want to say the second
How can you make?
chromosome. One sec. I just want to figure out. I just want to make sure I got it right. Yeah, it's the middle of chromosome 2. We have a telomere there, and telomeres only do anything if they're at the end of the chromosome, the end caps. But we have one in the middle of our second chromosome. Doesn't look designed to me.
Who told you that's wrong? You have a pre-assumption that it is wrong.
Told me
You know
what
I'm saying?
Who told me what?
You have an
This
idea.
is just
Look,
what
look,
telomeres do.
there's an there's an idea of
Telomeres are
perfection
protective
that should
caps
be there.
that go onto the ends of chromosomes to protect the DNA. If they're in the middle, they don't do anything.
What do you mean? Like, how do you know that it is wrong? That shouldn't be like that.
Because
That shouldn't be. It should be
telomeres
better.
are
You have
telomeres
a
are
perfect. You have already a perfect like.
telomeres are a functional part of DNA when they go on the end caps of the chromosomes. They don't do anything when they're in the middle, and we have one that's in the middle of the second chromosome.
Well, to be honest, I don't know what you're talking about because I'm not.
I'm sure you don't.
DNA specialist, but
But why'd you bring up DNA?
Because can we make DNA by ourselves? We know that DNA is.
Yeah, I think we can.
It contains atoms. How can humans like we have knowledge?
Yes,
Yeah,
DNA
we are
can be
smart,
artificially
but
created
can
in a
we-
laboratory.
can-
Yes.
don't-
Yes. The answer is yes.
Bro, you interrupted me.
I'm answering your question. You
No,
asked,
we
can
cannot.
we synthesize DNA ourselves? Yes, we can.
No, we can collect human DNA and mix it together, but there is no single
we can
scientist that-
custom print
bro, you
DNA
interrupted me.
molecule by
Don't
molecule.
interrupt, don't interrupt.
Well, I mean,
Don't
I'm
interrupt.
going to interrupt
You
you when you say
interrupt.
something incorrect.
No, can you bring me one case of humans creating any single something like close to a human cell? You cannot do that.
Oh, now we're changing the goalposts. The goalposts were not creating a human cell. The goalposts were creating goalpost was creating DNA. And here's a paper: synthetic DNA synthesis and assembly. Putting the synthetic in synthetic biology. The chemical synthesis of DNA oligonucleotides and their assembly into synthons, genes, circuits, and even entire genomes by gene synthesis methods has become an enabling technology for modern molecular biology and enabled the design, build, test, learn, and repeat cycle underpinning innovations in synthetic biology. So absolutely, we can create DNA from scratch. Absolutely, we can.
A living DNA, like a cell,
DNA isn't alive. DNA is a chemical.
like a human cell. Can we make
DNA isn't the same thing as a
Something like
human
closer.
cell. Why are you moving the goalposts? You originally said, and I can replay the audio for you if you want. You said we cannot make DNA, and I just showed you that we can.
I'm gonna take a step back. I'm gonna ask you, can we make life? It's just the smallest thing as life.
It depends on what we're
We
allowed
are-
to use as. It depends on what we're allowed to use as the ingredients. Because yes, there are synthetic cells. We can make them.
No, I talk about like using it from atoms, like just pure molecules, nothing else based on any living thing. We can't.
Synthetic cells,
Look,
from
we-
simple
we-
bio-inspired modules to sophisticated integrated systems. Bottom-up synthetic biology is the science of building systems that mimic the structure and function of living cells from scratch. Oh, I'm sorry, you're not seeing the thing that I'm seeing.
Not from scratch. We can,
Hold
bro.
on.
I did research about that. Humans
Bottom-up
have
synthetic
never
biology is
created
the
any living.
science. Bottom-up synthetic biology is the science of building systems that mimic the structure and function of living cells from scratch. To do this, researchers combine tools from chemistry, material science, and biochemistry to develop functional and structural building blocks to construct synthetic cell-like systems.
What is the scratch that this article talking about? What was that scratch?
What is the scratch? From chemicals.
Yes.
From chemicals.
What?
That's chemicals.
I'm not sure about that. Can you look it up?
The focus of this review is the bottom-up approach, which consists of building synthetic cells by combining functional and structural parts, biological or synthetic, into integrated systems with cell-like properties. The building blocks or modules must be engineered to improve their mutual compatibility, thereby paving the way
now
for
it's
synthetic
not
cells that are
Scratch, which
structurally
consists
and
of building
functionally
synthetics.
adaptable. Thus, the bottom-up approach is fundamentally different from the top-down approach, where the goal is to create synthetic cells by adding or removing cell components from existing organisms such as bacterium.
So now you eat in your words by combining what?
The top-down
by
approach
combining
uses
what?
cells.
By combining what? You said it by you said bro.
Yeah, by combining chemicals.
What?
These are all
Combining
chemicals.
what?
Functional and structural parts are chemicals.
Functional and structural parts,
Those
not
are chemicals.
not from basic molecules,
didn't
because
say the
because
word
we
basic.
cannot do that.
I didn't say the word basic. You did.
But that's what I was talking about. Like we cannot use
So we're
basic
moving the goalposts again.
molecules and create something that doesn't. No, I told you I'm gonna take a step back from the
Okay, so
DNA argument that I was using.
You keep
because
taking
I
a
was,
step back.
I was a
you
bit
keep
wrong
moving
about
the
it, but
goalposts.
no, I didn't. I didn't do it twice. I did it once.
No, that was the second
when
time.
I said that. Whereas I said, did I say can we make a human living cell
molecules.
from molecules? Did I
Yeah,
say
those
we
things
can
are
or not?
molecules. Those examples, those things that were listed are types of molecules.
We know that they are containing molecules, but can we as humans make them from the scratch of these molecules? Like we can bring molecule next to a molecule and create a living cell? No, but we know we as humans have basic conscious and we have knowledge, but our knowledge doesn't cover that. But that what does implement that there is a higher thing than us that
A
create
bottom-up
these
approach
things.
to build an artificial cell would involve creating a protocell de novo entirely from non-living materials. Would that be an example of the thing that you're asking for? Because that's what bottom-up approach to artificial cells are.
No, it doesn't talk about that. Just look it up again. It doesn't talk about.
It says it right
anything
here.
like that.
A bottom-up approach to build an artificial cell will involve
does it
creating
say?
a
What does it
protocell de
say?
novo entirely from non-living materials.
I'm not talking about non-living materials. You can make non-living materials through living. What can be it like? How can I say in English? Former living things. You know, I have a problems in it. I'm not. I don't have a perfect English, but I wish you can understand what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? Like we can, as humans, collect molecules and create any basic form of life. You know what I'm saying?
That's what creating an
can
artificial
use,
cell
like-
is. That's what creating a synthetic cell is. It's taking molecules
Nah,
and then
creating-
building a cell.
What look. I'm gonna tell you what my argument is from zero to understanding. We as humans have knowledge. That knowledge we can create something else. But what my argument is, I see that there is a higher power that have higher knowledge than us that created things.
Why should I
You
believe
know what
that?
I'm saying? We can create those things.
Why should I believe that? Why should I believe that there is a higher
Can
thing
we?
that creates those
Can
things?
we create life?
It depends on where your starting point
Because
is.
we can look
Apparently, you
all-
can create artificial cells. Absolutely.
You can create artificial cells from what was formerly alive or from a
No,
live
it's not.
source.
No, it's from
but
non-living
not from a
materials.
dead, like source.
It's from non-living materials.
Non-living materials can, bro. It's a blanket term.
That
You
means
cannot tell me
non-living means that it
non-living
didn't come from
material like
something that wasn't that was alive.
You can use a dead cell and say that it is a non-living material, but was it a cell? Yeah, of course it was alive at one point.
No, it
but
wasn't. That's not what non-living
But
means.
now it is.
Here, let me show you another paper. Let
That's
me show
your
you another
argument,
article.
bro.
Let me show you another article. Without using natural proteins, the Freeman lab built cells with functional cytoskeletons that can change shape and,
And
react
also,
to
let
their
me argue,
surroundings.
artificial
To do
cells
this,
are not alive.
To do this, they use a new programmable peptide DNA technology that directs peptides, the building blocks of proteins, and repurposed genetic material to work together to form a cytoskeleton.
Bro, direct peptide, that's already from a live source.
Peptides are
Bro,
not from a
that's- your
live source.
argument
We
is
can construct peptides
you're proving
completely
my
synthetically.
Look, you are proving my point that we cannot create anything from scratch of something already done.
I just googled, can peptides be created? Can peptides be made synthetically? Yes, peptides can be made synthetically. In fact, synthetic peptide production is a cornerstone of modern biochemistry. Now that's the AA overview, but you know, we can just go to, you know, this particular article here. Sorry, I am indeed a human. This article called synthetic peptides. These are artificially created molecules that have been derived from a natural bactericidal permeability increasing factor. They've derived from it, but they're artificially created.
You get yourself.
Wait a minute.
Bro,
do you know what derived means? Do you know what derived means? It means that the idea was taken from it.
Bacterial, bro. It says
bactericidal.
Bacterial permeability.
It's not bacterial. Bactericidal. That would be like a chemical. That would be like a bactericidal just means it's a chemical that kills bacteria.
Look, bro. Is it a form of life or not?
No.
It is a form of
life. A bactericide is not necessarily a form of life. Introduction to peptide synthesis. A number of synthetic peptides are significant commercial or pharmaceutical products, ranging from the dipeptide sugar substituting aspartame. Aspartame is a synthetic peptide. You think that that's derived from living things to clinically used hormones such as oxytocin, adrenocorticotropic hormone, and calcitonin. This unit provides an and so you know there's a whole description of how to do synthetic peptide production. So peptides are not necessarily derived from organic life. So I mean you're just wrong on this. Like maybe if you had made this argument 40. Look, Dulcim, maybe if you had made this argument 40 years ago, you would have had a point. But you're out of date, man. The science has progressed. We can make cells.
Bro, we cannot make any live cells. First of all, that's the first wrong thing that you did. Artificial cells are not
make live cells?
That's bro, let me break down your fallacies that you did. First of all, synthetic cells are not alive.
Cells that look and act like cells from the body. What makes them not alive?
Bro, you didn't bring one point. Look, bro, stop, bro. Stop doing it. This is mental gymnastics. You try.
Bro.
Don't back. Okay. Are we having a conversation? Are we trying to get to something like?
Yeah. So go ahead and show that the synthetic cells that were created are not alive.
Artificial, bro. Artificial cells are not even alive.
What makes them not alive?
Let's go. Okay, what the fuck are you talking about? Because there is a definition of living things that they can breathe, that they can nurture.
Cells don't breathe. They respire. By the way,
they respire or something like that. Yeah, I studied it in French. I didn't study it in English.
So the cells that they produce to do that.
By definition, they are not living.
How do you know?
By definition, they are not alive.
What's the definition that makes them not alive?
Your whole argument.
Hold on. What's the definition? What's the definition that makes them not alive?
Synthetic cells are not alive.
Why are they not alive?
Bro, what?
Why should I think that they're not alive?
By the basic definition of the scientific definition of alive.
Okay, what's the scientific definition of alive?
Your point.
What's the scientific definition of alive?
I'm not sure about it, but I know they are not living.
Then how do you know that they're not living? You don't know, but you're certain that they're not living.
I've actually looked it up. Like
you have. What'd you look up?
Bro, you are the one who have to prove it. I'm not the person who bring this
hold on,
point.
you just made the claim.
Prove something that I didn't bring up.
Dulcim, you made the claim. Bro.
You made the claim that they're
Bro, you made the claim that they're not alive. Why didn't you prove it?
Now you're doing deflection. I know what you're doing
I'm asking you to provide evidence for your claim.
You're throwing points and throwing words that doesn't. Bro, first of all, prove me that they are alive, because it's your argument, not my argument.
Yeah, so they act like human cells. They act like cells from the body. Yeah, it says it right here. Create cells that look and act like cells from the body.
Are they alive?
If they act like cells from the body, then yes. If they act like cells from the body, then yeah.
Bro, that's your own definition. That's not the definition.
What do you
of
mean it's my own?
alive.
If they
You
do
made
what
your
cells in
L-
your body
you make
does,
the-
if they do what cells in your body do, then
make-
they're alive because the cells in your body are alive.
You made your own, bro. You made your own definition, and you're trying to say like this is how it works. No, this is not how it works. There is
Okay,
a
so then how does it
scientific
work? Tell me.
definition of
Okay, what's the scientific
living.
definition?
You have to, bro. Look it up yourself. You're the one
Bro, you're the one who keeps making this claim that they're not alive. Prove it.
You are the one who's supposed to. You are the one who.
You made the claim.
Trying to disprove
You made the claim that they're
my
not
claim
alive.
that we cannot make any living thing.
You made the claim that they're not
You are the one
alive.
who's responsible. Prove it. You are the one who bring that point. Prove that they're
I
alive.
just gave
I'm
you
not the
evidence
one
that they
who's
look and
responsible.
act like cells from the body.
Bro, if I act gay, I'm gay.
And also,
that doesn't
well,
make
yeah,
any
actually,
sense.
that is
That
what it is.
doesn't
Also, they have functional cytoskeletons that can change shape and react to their surroundings, reacting to their environment. That's one of the cornerstones of life.
Can you prove that they are alive?
I just gave you another piece of evidence that they're
my
alive.
point is that we cannot make any form of life. We cannot make any form of life from
prove it.
simple
Prove it.
molecules. Like
Prove it.
we don't. There is
Prove it.
look. Can.
By the way, at this point, I've given you so many pieces of evidence, and you're just denying it.
You're supposed to prove it, not me.
I've given you so many pieces of evidence that we can create synthetic life, like we can create synthetic cells that are alive, and you keep saying, nah. No, it's not alive. It's not alive. It doesn't count. No, it doesn't count. No, it doesn't count. First, no, it doesn't count. You can't make synthetic DNA. Oh, we can make synthetic DNA. Oh, you can't make synthetic cell. Oh, you can make synthetic cell. Oh, you can't make a living synthetic cell. Oh, you can make living synthetic cell. It doesn't count. That's you right now.
What? First of all, I wasn't talking about like anything like that. First of all, I did take a step back from the DNA claim, and I myself said that I was wrong about it. But you cannot do the same thing right now. That you cannot prove that we can make living things from scratch. I don't talk about like the scratch you bring up before, like that scratch we collect already living things and make
Nobody
it,
said anything
like,
about already living things, my
somehow,
guy.
like,
You keep inserting that to feed your self-delusion that we can't make living things. Apparently we can.
I know what you're doing right here.
What am I doing?
That's deflection. You bring the point that we can make alive things. Can you prove these synthetic
Look,
cells are
I've already
alive?
given you. I've already given you evidence. I've already given you evidence that this is the case. Yes. Yes. I've already given you the evidence. You just denied it. You just rejected it.
Bro, open
I already showed it to you. I already showed it to you, bro.
Right now,
Bro.
Yeah, you're doing deflection. I know what you're doing right here.
No, I'm
That's
just
deflection.
making fun of
I
you.
know what you're doing. And the kids, look, the kids in your chat and these people that in
The
your
kids
chat.
in
that's
your chat,
singing,
bro. You're 18.
They trying
What
to
do you mean
mimic me, and
kids? You're a kid.
I know what they doing. I'm a kid, but I don't like.
I mean, you're an adult. You're
pretend that I'm
18,
wrong.
but
I'm trying to have like a civil conversation. I'm a good person.
then
I'm not
why
trying
aren't
to
you? Then why aren't you
say,
engaging
like,
honestly with what I'm saying? I've given you now plenty of
I'm
evidence
saying,
that these are
bro,
living things, that they meet the criteria to be alive.
I'm asking you right now. That's what I'm asking. Can you do like a screen
I've already
share
given you the
and
evidence.
Write in Google.
I've already given
are
you the evidence.
synthetic- bro. No, just Google it right now in front of us.
I've already given you the evidence.
Are synthetic cells alive?
I've already given you the evidence. I don't know what
What
I don't know what
evidence?
the issue
He
is.
didn't bring anything, bro.
I
didn't bring
literally
anything.
gave you a press release that says that they can change shape and react to their surroundings. That is by definition a quality
did-
that life has. It says it right here.
What you mean by definition?
They can-
Life has
Okay,
many
hold on.
qualities.
Okay, one sec. Definition of life. Oh, we don't want Merriam-Webster because it's not going to give us like a scientific accounting. Let's just go to Wikipedia. Life is the capacity. Here we go. Life is the capacity in matter for processes such as cell signaling, homeostasis, metabolism, cell growth, adaptation, response to stimuli, and reproduction. All life eventually reaches a state of death.
Does the synthetic cell does all of that? The synthetic cells does. There's.
So to be clear, it says
they
such
can't do
as.
that.
It doesn't
They
say.
can't do
It doesn't
that.
say that they have to do all of it, right?
Well, then you have no point. Then you have no.
Well, no, just has to do some of these, right?
Dr. Blitz here are proving that we cannot make any living cells. So now you proved yourself. You did look it up.
Wait a minute. No. This proves my point. The point is that life is matter that can do things such as that. Are you struggling here?
I'm not struggling. You are the one who's struggling. You are the one who couldn't prove his synthetic cells
Are you sure?
are alive. So what? I'm sure about it. Can you prove that they're alive?
Are you sure?
No, of course you can. So your point is from zero are wrong.
What? What did you say?
I'm just telling you. Can you prove that synthetic cell? In your made-up argument, those synthetic cells are they alive or not?
I mean, it depends on how you're defining life, but at least according to the definition that we just looked at, it does the kinds of things that are required to be alive.
So they're not alive.
No, I mean, like, if you're defining life as being able to do the things that are required to be alive, then sure. No, that's not the claim.
By definition, they are not alive.
By what definition?
The definition that all scientists agree on.
Which you don't know, by the way. By the way, there is no definition that all scientists agree on.
I don't know. You
okay,
bring
so
it up
how do you?
on Wikipedia.
Wait, hold on.
I don't know.
Hold on, bro. How do you know?
Do your deflection thing.
Bro. How do you know that they are not alive according to the definition that all scientists agree upon if you don't even know what that definition is?
Well, I did hear it. I'm not a liar. I did hear it, like, before. I heard a doctor told me that, like, he is an Islamic, what do you call it, apologist. And he made the point, and I like that point, so I'm not repeating it. But I did my own research.
So wait a minute, do you know what the definition of life is that all scientists agree upon to be able to verify that these synthetic cells are not alive? Because otherwise, you're just saying something that you can't back up.
You're the one who burned that point.
You made the claim that according to the definition...
But yourself, you cannot prove that they are alive.
Dalsum, you made the claim that according to the definition that all scientists agree upon, that these cells are not alive. But you don't even know what the definition is that all scientists agree upon. So how can you back up that claim that according to a definition you don't know, that these cells, which you've never heard about, are not alive? You've never heard about any of this. You don't know any of this stuff. Like, how can you make this argument when you don't know any of it?
Can you look, don't interrupt me. What at first I was talking about something about DNA. Then I talked like I take a step back and talk like about cell. I said like we cannot create anything like a living cell from dead scratch. Like when I talk about scratch, like create like taking molecules and making something like a cell. We cannot do that. You did bring the point of we can bring things from like scratch and make a synthetic cell which isn't alive. I responded that they aren't alive. You are the one who's responsible of answering that. You
no, I'm sorry, you made the claim that they're not alive. So I've met my burden of proof.
You did prove my point. Like, bro, you didn't.
I've met my burden of proof. I've provided evidence that they are alive. I've met my burden of proof. I've provided evidence that they are alive, that they share traits with living things.
They can act like, bro. What kind of argument is that? What kind of argument is that? They
it's
act
evidence.
like
Now,
cells.
It's evidence. Now, can you provide evidence to the alternative?
Like cells because they're synthetic.
Wait a minute. Oh my God! The comments maybe they made.
I'm not the one who's supposed to do that. You are the one who's supposed to do that.
Do you think that synthetic means not alive? Are you trying to prove
your point or not?
Do you think that synthetic means not alive?
Okay, that's mental gymnastics. I know what you're doing right here.
It was a question. That's not mental gymnastics. I was just asking you a question. I'm trying to clarify where we're where we're talking past each other.
That you do deflection. You are here
do you know
doing
what a
deflection.
I
Don't
feel like
deflect.
you've heard. Okay,
Can
look.
you prove your argument that
Dawson, I feel like you've watched a lot of debates and you've heard the debate words like deflection and mental gymnastics, but you don't actually know when they apply because you're just saying them in random places.
No, but this is. Well, I did. You think I'm gonna say like, no, I didn't. I did hear like that, but you cannot prove your point. That's it. I did bring something.
I've already met my burden of proof.
You cannot defend this point.
I've
Bro,
already met my burden of proof. The burden shifts to you. I already gave it to you. It's right here. I've already met my burden of proof.
What? Bro, you didn't prove anything.
This article, specifically this article, meets my burden of proof.
It talks about synthetic cells. Can you prove that they are alive from scratch?
Yeah, it's talking about the properties that these synthetic cells have. They do things like act like cells from the body. They can change shape and react to their surroundings. Those are things that living things do. Now, if you can provide me evidence to the contrary, that they are not alive, then that'd be great and we could have that conversation. But the burden is now on you.
I said that you cannot prove that they are alive using
I provided you evidence
agreed upon from all scientists, all biologists, what they agreeing upon that's alive and that's not alive.
Okay, so
by
right,
that
I'd love
definition,
to.
You cannot
Dawson,
prove synthetic cells are alive.
I would absolutely love to do that. But you need to tell me what the definition is first, so that I can prove that these cells are alive according to that definition.
You yourself, you're the one who's supposed to defend his point, not me.
Oh, you don't know the definition. So what if I just told you?
I don't know it. You know it. You're the Mr. I know. You know everything.
So the definition of life, according to all
scientists,
scientists, is that they react to their environment and act like cells from the body.
Nah, that's your made-up definition right here.
How do you know? You don't know it. How do you know? How do you know? You don't know it.
I know what you're doing, bro. I know what you're doing. That's not real.
But how do you know? You don't know it.
I don't know it. You know it. Tell me what it is.
I just told you what it is.
By using your method, like bring on the screen a valid source that says that synthetic cells are all biologists agreed upon that these synthetic cells
This is
are
your
alive.
claim. Why not
Can
you
do
prove
that?
it?
No.
Wait, this is your claim. Why not you prove it?
You keep deflecting it because you couldn't prove it. Bro, I love you. You have a lovely personality.
I wish I could say the same.
A lovely personality. But I'm just...
Look, this is your claim. Why can't you prove it?
I'm sorry if
Why are you deflecting so much? Why are you deflecting and running away from the conversation? It's your claim. You should prove it. No, look, you made the claim that that by definition, these are non-living things. That's your claim. Why not prove it?
You are the one who's supposed to do that, not me.
I'm the one who's supposed to prove myself wrong. No, the burden is on you. Look, Dawson, I understand you're young, you don't know anything about biology. Why not make an argument that doesn't involve biology then?
How you feel about that? A young guy, maybe you cannot prove anything. I am a young guy. I'm an 18-year-old. You're I don't know 14 or what, I don't know. You cannot answer a point of an 18-year-old.
You think I'm 14?
I don't know, something like that. 15? 50? I mean 50, 14.
Yep, you know I'm 14. Look, Dawson, it's clear that you don't know anything about biology.
40,
you've admitted it yourself that you don't know anything about biology, which is fine. You're 18, you're allowed to not know things, but then why are you making an argument that relies on knowing things about biology?
Bro, you know everything. Like, bro, just show it.
I've already provided the evidence here.
I'm just a dumbass.
You're right. You don't know, so don't make an argument that relies on it. I've already provided you the evidence.
My argument. I don't know. You're the one who's supposed to enlighten me of your ultimate knowledge. I know that the glasses you wear on. You're the Mr. Nerdy guy that knows everything. I don't know. Can you show me the definition of what a living cell means? You're good. You're good at You're good at deflecting.
Why don't you make an argument that you actually understand rather than just repeating what some apologists said?
I don't know anything. Like you know everything. Can you
Granted.
just enlighten me of what?
I've never said bro that many times in one sitting. All right, let's read some super chats if there are any, and then we'll bring up our next guest. From Eat Some Shorts with the $5, reparations for hearing the phrase Trump is the Abrahamic Messiah. I appreciate the reparations, it's definitely needed. From Tehran Taha Ali, sending 5 Dr. Blitz gift memberships. You know what that means? So first of all, Tehran, thank you so much. It's very generous. Tehran just gave 5 more people access to 3, count them 3 perks. The first perk is you get access to a secret members only Discord channel in the Discord server, which is, you know, where you can talk with other people who are paying subscribers, if you will. Second is you get access to emojis. So those people now have access to a plethora of emojis that are YouTube specific, that are unique to me in the YouTube chat. Third, and best of all, you now have access to my debate notes. So my debate notes include all sorts of arguments for all sorts of topics, including the theism topic, creationism, flat earth, moon landing, pyramids, MAGA, all sorts of topics. There's a bunch of resources, arguments, counter arguments, facts, papers, etc. that now those 5 people have access to. So if you want to get access to those perks, which you can do through TikTok, through YouTube, through Patreon, through Twitch, consider becoming a subscriber. It'd be very much appreciated, and it's a good way to support me if you want to. From Joshua Brown with the $5, what is organization, metabolism, homeostasis, growth, reproduction, response to stimuli? Ah, there you go. Are we playing Jeopardy? From L'Oreal Ashley with the $20, very much appreciated, L'Oreal. Bro, it was God. I know, bro. Bro. And I think there was just a super chat that just came in, but I missed it for some reason. I don't know where it went. From Coach Ivanka with the 49 Mexican dollars. Bro, I know, bro. And from Philo Dragon with the $10, Blitz, you must meet my impossible challenge. Invisible opponent in front of a selectively moving target. That's basically what we were doing, bro. That's what we were doing, bro. All right, let's bring up our next guest. Let's talk to Le Fish. Le Fish, how's it going? Gotta unmute yourself, by the way.
Is it working?
It's working, yeah. How's it going?
I'm doing fine now, but you?
I'm doing all right, but your microphone's really quiet.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. I don't know if I can fix that.
No, I think it's okay now. Okay, so look, I'm an atheist. I imagine that you're not. Why should I believe in God?
Well, I'm agnostic, and I'm not really certain, or I suspend the judgment.
So
And
wait a minute,
I've
do
never
you believe in
really,
God?
No, I'm uncertain.
Okay, well then how could you convince me to believe in a God that you don't believe in? How's that gonna work?
No, I just wanted to hear. I wanted to hear more of your argumentation.
Okay, well that's not the place. I'm not gonna do the whole devil's advocate business. If you want to listen to the argumentation, you can just watch and listen to the live stream, right? Let's bring up New Day. Hopefully New Day will be a little bit louder. New Day, you're on.
Hi, did you say New Day?
I did, that's you.
Hi, I am a Christian, but I'm a questioning Christian, so I know I cannot convince you that there is a God. The reason I'm calling in is I'm hoping that after this live, you can please check your web address. My initials are TL. I've sent you
Web
a
address.
message because I think there's a violation of a friend of yours on YouTube. So I'm hoping they can.
I already forwarded that over.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, we do have a few super chats, and then we'll move on to our next guest. I guess we'll grab a guest from TikTok because the guests from Discord seem to not know how to read. From Cherry Bomb Games with the $20, very kind of you. Thank you so much. It's people like you that help me keep this channel going, keep motivating me to do these live streams. Dang Blitz, you're looking pretty haggard for a 14. Damn, bro's just catching strays here, man. Oof. Right in the youth. From Ariste with the 6 zeros, why did you not explain to him that scientists do not agree on what the definition of life is? I mean, I could have, but I don't think it would have been helpful. From Joshua Brown with the $5, there's no actual definition of alive, but more of there's a set of criteria that defines whether or not something is alive according to biology. Yeah, that's roughly the right way to understand it. That's my view. My view is basically that, and you know, I'm not a biologist, but like, my understanding is that like there's a collection of like properties or a collection of behaviors that a thing has to be able to do, and if they meet enough of them, then we would call them alive. Unusual activity. Hold on. How many people joined? No, this is not so unusual. It's just normal. Yeah. Okay. Mark as resolved. Mark as resolved. Okay, good. Sorry, it was just a Discord thing. All right, let's bring up our next guest. Let's bring up Cheeky. Cheeky, how's it going? Bro's asleep. Everybody be quiet. Oh. All right, let's bring up user 11851534, whatever. Lots of numbers.
Hey,
user
how are you?
1185. How's it going?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
How you doing? So, up front, I will also say I'm an agnostic Christian, but I can commit to the theistic belief, like unlike the other person. But if you're just looking to like dunk on creationists and stuff, I'm pretty sympathetic to your goals. So we can move on. But otherwise, like, yeah.
I'm agnostic Christian is fine. Like, I'm happy to talk to whoever as long as they actually hold a belief, right? Like, if you actually believe that a God exists, then there's a conversation to be had. If you like, if I'm just talking to an agnostic and they're like, I don't believe that a God exists, then they're gonna have a hard time convincing me to believe that a God exists if they can't even convince themselves.
For sure, yeah. And the reason I choose the moniker agnostic in front of Christian is because I'm committed to like a philosophical humility about the position, but like I still, yeah. It's funny, people say agnostic Christian makes no sense in the chat, but I mean, I think there's plenty.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean by agnostic Christian. Yeah, that's fine. So
absolutely.
Look, but presumably you still hold a belief. You still have some high credence, say, in the God proposition or something like that.
Yeah, I do, and I'll probably more be laying out my argument for why I think, like at a base level, like it makes sense to pursue maybe a belief in God or what I would call faith, like, but I'll be talking about a pretty abstract God. Like, I think it's pretty tough to defend like the white guy with the beard.
Well, I don't think anybody really defends that. So.
Well, they try on here, it seems like, right? But
no, but I've never spoken with anybody who believes in a white guy with a beard.
Oh, I would say most evangelicals.
Not a single evangelical I've ever spoken with believes that. Not a single one.
Oh,
it's a straw man of like the Christian view, or of like the kind of like
I'm being
fundamentalist
facetious,
Christian view.
but like yes, yeah, I appreciate your good faith. Yeah.
So look.
But
So.
Yeah.
I mean, you say that. I mean, we may as well just dive right in. So you say that there's probably like good reason to pursue faith, and so just so I can clarify, when you say that there's good reason to pursue faith, you mean that there's good reason to like investigate, you know, the way the world is, to like have these conversations, to like think about these things deeply, or do you mean that there's a good reason to like try to convince yourself to have like perhaps what we might call an unfounded belief, or like an unjustified belief, because depending on who you're talking to,
that's a good distinction.
Especially some Christians, they will say that faith is belief in things unseen, right? And I would just say that that's another way of saying, like, this is not something that we have compelling evidence for. It wouldn't be faith if we had compelling evidence for, given that definition. Rather, it would just be, some justified belief. So is that what you're getting at? I'd love the clarification.
Yeah, that's a good distinction. Maybe what I'm arguing is somewhere in between those positions, and I can try to articulate it.
Please.
Can I ask you, are you a materialist, like a physicalist?
I'm sympathetic to physicalism. I have some reservations about it, but probably the closest place that you'd find me is somewhere buried in physicalism.
Okay, yeah. I think the way I think about it is I listened to a podcast with like Sean Carroll and some other people like a year ago or so, where they were talking about causality, and they were causal anti-realists.
Sure.
Can I ask you another question? Do you think causality is a real phenomenon, or is it just a descriptive layer that we place over interactions?
Yeah, so I take that causality in like the Aristotelian sense is probably just like made up. But I think that there's like some notion of causality that you can reasonably use to describe the physics that we're talking about, or like, the universe, the physical stuff anyway. Which is to say that like I'm a causal anti-realist in the Aristotelian sense, but not in like the sense of causality or like light cones and things like this in the physics sense.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, you and I would both agree that causality is very useful for like the sciences, but you would just say that's more of like a man-made layer that we place on top of
it's at least
the laws of physics to make sense of things.
It's at least plausible that it is. I kind of lean towards the view that time is an emergent phenomenon, and causality, of course, is the kind of explanation that is, temporal, like a sort of temporal explanation. And so if time is an emergent phenomenon, then I would say that causality is not really something that exists fundamentally.
Okay. So I guess like going back to this tiny anecdote about this podcast, and I think you'd be sympathetic to their view, is they were talking about causality, and Sean Carroll posed an interesting question saying, okay, well, if this is purely descriptive and we can't really identify causality, then why do the laws of physics work so well? Like, why are they so predictable and everything? And the respondent, I can't remember his name, said that he's like, oh, you have to be careful with that notion because, I think it's just safer to be agnostic about it, because if you tried to find a place where it's either infinite regress or like there's a backstop, like a necessary cause, then you run into arguments for God. And I guess that had me thinking that if you arrive at that metaphysical fork in the road, I think it's like epistemologically equal to either jump to like the base level theism or base level atheism at that point. And I think your path from there resides a lot in your intuitions, and that can be kind of your rational basis for pursuing faith. Does that make sense, or should I rephrase?
I think I get what you're saying. I think what you're saying is that like, if we, unless we reject causality entirely, then it seems like that we run down a road which is kind of one of the inevitable roads that leads to the questions of, is there some fundamental reality or not? And you're saying that we probably should reject that causality doesn't exist at all, because, we have these really strong intuitions, and the laws of physics, they seem to require some sort of notion of causality and all this business. And so if we choose to not reject causality, then we have to ask these questions. And like, look, I'm sympathetic to that view. I think that you can ask these questions. I think that the inevitable answer that you get to is that either you should be genuinely agnostic, like, or like you can say that, oh, well, we just don't know enough, so we just can't come to any conclusions one way or the other, or or if if you're more like me, you come to the conclusion that your credence should probably be heavily favoring the the atheist position.
Right. I appreciate that summary and your respectful response. I think you summarized it pretty well. And yeah, as an agnostic Christian, and I'm very sympathetic, I think, to people who write about belief in theology, I still think the world needs to be 1,000 times more secular. So like we would probably,
cool.
if we were face to face, like
I'm glad
agree
we
on
agree.
like everything. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I guess that's where I start, is saying when you reach that metaphysical fork in the road, saying, you know, materialism and like the absence of like whatever we would call like a necessary being is like basically epistemologically equal to being like, well, actually, I want to kind of pursue that mystery. And I think that can be like a sprouting off point for someone's faith. Now, how they arrive to like the evangelical God or a different God, like that's a whole other question that I don't really know how to resolve yet. But I guess you're sympathetic to what I'm saying a little bit.
Yeah, I think that look, so one of the and like there is it sparks joy in me to dunk on creationists. That is a guilty pleasure of mine.
Right.
But you know, I mean, like there are really deep questions that like professionally I'm very interested in, like questions about like what time is, because you know this is fundamental. You know, as long as we agree that like causation is the kind of thing, it's a kind of explanation that occurs temporally. In order to even understand causation, you have to understand what time it is, and I think that that's a really deep question. And then questions about like whether or not you can have infinite chains of causation. These are interesting. These are like deeply interesting questions. I think that those questions are probably, or ought probably be, well, like first you have to grant that, you know, this is a conversation worth having, and I'm happy to grant that this is absolutely a conversation worth having. However, I think that there's probably a better place to start, which is, okay, if there is a God, what is the bare bones meaning of the word, right? And
Right.
you know, the conclusion that I come to, at least as far as like any sort of Western tradition is concerned, of course there are much more mystical traditions that have different views of God, but that's not really what the atheist position is about. If you're asking what is a god, usually it's some sort of metaphysical entity. It's like an agent. Perhaps it's not an agent like us, but it is an agent. It's a thing that has a will. It can take actions. It has a mind. It has mental states. These would be properties of the god. And then somehow it is like a foundational cause for the universe, or it's like some sort of ultimate grounding of the universe, whatever it might be. It's one of those things. But instrumental's not the right word. Definitionally, as part of this being that we're conceiving of, it needs to be a mind. And as far as I'm concerned, whether or not time is fundamental to the universe, you need time in order to have things like agency, in order to be able to make decisions, to have thoughts. And so just right out the gate, it seems like maybe it is the case that there is some foundational reality, some foundational cause. Maybe there's not. But it seems like whatever that foundational cause is, if there is such a thing, it can't be a thing with a mind. At least insofar as I understand what a mind is. And that's one of the main arguments that basically leads me to conclude that, yeah, theism, as constructed by basically philosophers in the generally Western kind of tradition for the last several thousand years, is just completely like nonsense.
Okay. I appreciate that really thoughtful response. Thank you. I think an interesting starting off point for like, I have some thoughts about what you're saying. I'm kind of like halfway through a book by David Bentley Hart called All Things Are Full of Gods that was published last year. And I think you'd be interested in it. It's not, he claims it's not panpsychism, but I think it's panpsychism adjacent. And yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but I think like, and I don't know how you feel about qualia and panpsychism, but I think there's more there that deserves a little bit of credit than like people would be so easy to dismiss. But he defines mind as like that base layer of reality, and matter and intelligence kind of rise up to meet it. And so I'm going to butcher that argument. So that's why I'm referencing you, the book, and the author, because maybe you'd find it interesting. Another sell on the book is it's written in like a Socratic dialogue, and that's pretty fun to read in like a 2025 philosophy book. But yeah, I think you'd find it interesting, and maybe I'd like to come back and poke your brain about it, because I think he's trying to address your fundamental challenge, which is, what is mind and how could you define it in a way that's compatible with like this theism and like current physics.
I mean, and so you know, perhaps he proposes a definition of mind, but that perhaps is compatible. But when we're talking about theism, and maybe this is just in the book, right? But when we're talking about theism, we're not talking about like some fundamental kernel of awareness, right? Like a fundamental kernel of awareness is not it's not sufficient to do the things that we expect the theistic creator, the theistic God to do. Like, you know, a fundamental kernel of awareness. And by the way, this is usually what I understand the panpsychist view to be, that like everything has some degree of awareness, and that's what they mean by saying that everything has a mind, that like that the mind is fundamentally like a degree of awareness. I don't think that that's enough. I mean, like when we talk about this theistic being, this God of, you know, of the Western tradition, we're not talking about just a thing with awareness. We're talking about a thing that in fact has knowledge, right? That knows everything. We're talking about a being that is able to take actions, that is able to think, rather than just has a kind of vague awareness simpliciter, right? It's just not enough. And so even if I grant panpsychism, and I generally think panpsychism is a little silly, but like I don't think it's so silly that it's not worth considering. Even if I grant panpsychism,
right,
it seems like that doesn't get you to a non-composite foundational mind that has these properties that it needs to have to be reasonably called a god. Like, even if panpsychism were true, I still think, and that then it would follow that if there is a foundation to the universe, that the foundation is necessarily mental, but it wouldn't follow that foundation is, that foundation necessarily has a mind, has some sort of awareness. It wouldn't follow that it's the kind of thing that we expect of a god, right? And that's so. Right. It seems like the theistic tradition has more to do than just kind of get someone to grant panpsychism or get someone to grant idealism.
Right, good point. And that's kind of why the reason I think about theism these days is less from trying to prove God or be like an apologist, and it's more about to kind of justify maybe someone's spiritual journey from like an intellectual or from like a rational baseline. Because, you know, you're totally right. I think one thing I'll say about panpsychism, and I'm not committed to the view, but I think I'm becoming increasingly sympathetic, is like, as you know, it's not saying like a chair is conscious, but it's saying that like consciousness is probably baked into like the material of reality in a way that can at least provide some explanatory for the mind-body problem.
I'm very skeptical of that, by the way. Like, but that's a separate conversation. But I'm very skeptical that like this helps answer the mind-body problem at all.
Oh, really? Just on a purely metaphysical level, that doesn't like make sense to you?
I don't think it helps at all, because we're not just like, when we're talking about like, if you're a panpsychist, there's this fundamental awareness or fundamental mental feature of, you know, that makes up everything, you know, the atoms and the electrons, whatever. These things are fundamentally mind or fundamentally mental, but they don't have the properties that we expect that like you and I have, right? Like as people. Right. They don't have like agency and thought, and they don't have will and all of these things, and they don't have memories, and they don't have sensations and all of these things. And so like, it's not clear at all to me that saying that atoms have some sort of awareness allows us to explain why you and I can have the experience of red. Like it seems like it's the exact same problem.
Well, the hard problem, like clearly physics can't explain how qualia arises, right? But I think the difference
saying
is
clearly is not so clear, but sure, go ahead.
No. I'll commit to that position. Maybe this can be an interesting discussion if you want to have it.
I hate the qualia discussion. I think it's just off topic for what it's worth, but go ahead.
Okay, so sorry, if you hate this discussion, then you can shut it down now. But are you not a qualia realist? Like, you don't think qualia is real?
Well, I think that qualia, whatever qualia is, I'll tell you where I lean. I'm pretty agnostic on this. But But where I lean is that qualia is a first-person experience of a thing that is describable in a third-person way. Like, qualia is just what the thing doing the experience, or what it looks like for the thing that's doing the experiencing, rather than from the outside point of view. So it just seems like this is probably not. Put another way, I take it that qualia, that the thing that we're identifying with qualia is identical to the third-person perspective identifying neurotransmitters doing neurotransmitter things. That those two things are actually just identical. It's just they're viewed from different perspectives.
Okay, so have you? I'm probably sure you're familiar with like the Mary and the apple thought experiment.
The Mary's room? Yeah.
Yes.
My understanding is that the guy who originally proposed it now thinks it's a terrible argument.
Yeah, he does, and I think there's other philosophers who are trying to revive it. I mean, I think that's what's interesting about philosophy is it's constantly like turning and reviving bad arguments into good ones and good ones into bad ones. But like, I think I haven't been able to kind of shake that one. I'm curious why you don't think the experience of red is like, I guess, as real as like reading about what red is.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, it's so if we take learning to be, and obviously this is a very reductionist view, but bear with me. Suppose that we take learning to be a system of patterns that happen in your brain, like neurotransmitters sending chemicals or whatever, that happens in your brain over and over again, and it reinforces certain pathways, right? Suppose that's what learning is. Then it would follow that there are certain kinds of stimuli, like reading in a book or watching a YouTube video, that could trigger certain patterns to develop. And then, those patterns would become reinforced and they would become structures in your brain. And it's just not clear to me that, when Mary finally goes out and sees the apple, it's just a different kind of neural pattern that was reinforced, that's being reinforced now, that she didn't have access to on the inside. And so it's just not true that she was able to learn everything there is to learn about the apple. Because if learning is the reinforcing of certain neural patterns and she was unable to access a certain kind of neural pattern, then she wasn't able to learn all of it.
But if the way that neural pathway is expressed to a conscious individual cannot be accessed in any other way, like any physical description, like it has to happen through qualia, through the phenomenal, then isn't it happening on a fundamentally different metaphysical plane than the material?
Well, suppose for a moment that experiencing or that learning is, and again, I'm not a neurobiologist, I'm not a whatever. I'm speculating here. But
I'm not anything, so you're good.
So suppose that learning is what I've described. It's this, like, at least at a biological level, it's this process of certain stimuli trigger certain neural pathways, and those neural pathways, by being stimulated over and over again, are reinforced and kind of set in stone in your brain. And once it's set in stone, then you've learned it. Well, it just seems to me that in principle, if Mary was sufficiently sophisticated, she could go learn everything that she knows about the human brain. She could go look at studies of people who have seen apples, and she could go look at the analyses of the brain structures of the people who have seen apples and find the particular neural pathway that was reinforced when they saw apples. And then she could ask her robot friend or robot assistant to go perform surgery on her to reinforce a particular pathway that wasn't reinforced. And then she would have, then internally, at least as far as I'm concerned, this would be having learned via experience what the apple is. Like, this would be equivalent to having the definition or having the memory of having seen an apple.
I think I follow you. I think when you talk about going in and doing the surgery and making the neural pathway, I think you're skirting the fundamental question, which is the quote unquote, what is it like? Because regardless of how much information she learns, or whether you are like implanting that experience in the brain, let me ask you in this way. Let's take a hard physicalist stance. Let's say that we teach let's say that we find a unified theory of everything. Physics matches up perfectly. Everything is great. And we teach like a super AI at one point to like write out every possible equation and mapping of like everything that happens. But they're not represented in like a conscious way like you or I would be. Would that super AI know the quote unquote what it is like to see and experience red? And I have a hard time believing it could. I know you say you're not 100% committed to it, neither am I, but like, I guess I'm just saying, I don't know if you're giving it quite the credit it deserves on how hard that question is.
So the question of what it is like to is a question about some sort of, I don't want to say internals not the right word, but like, yeah, we can say it like an internal observation of something compared with an external observation of something. Right. When we say what is it like to see red, what we're saying is, what is the observation internally? What is it like inside your head? Not what does it look like from outside, right? Assuming your head is your like it. What is it like inside your mind as opposed to what is it like looking in from the outside? And so
right, but beyond the sorry, not to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Yeah, you're fine. Well, so look, it seems very strange to me that So suppose that we have this AI, right? This AI, it can simulate everything, presumably, right? It can simulate whatever it wants. It can, build a system that does whatever it wants. It can, otherwise I don't know how it's doing calculations. But so it seems like whether or not you think that the mind-body problem is a problem or not, whether or not you think Mary's room is actually like a real issue for a physicalist, it seems like you're still, as long as you're not taking the position that this is like a soul endowed by a god, it seems like you would still be reasonably expected to believe that, like, oh, if you just made an exact replica of a human brain and then gave it all of the inputs that human brains get, but you made it out of silicon, that like it wouldn't have awareness, it wouldn't have a mind. And look, I'm just not convinced.
Can I answer the silicon thing real quick?
Yeah, sure.
There's actually, like, I think Alex O'Connor has like an interview with the guy who just published a paper about this like a week or two ago, specifically about the silicon argument, where he argues that as soon as you introduce something other than like biological material on the foundational physical level, it changes the analogy so much that it's like if you were to say, if you were to propose like a hypothetical bridge made of cottage cheese, it's like, yeah, we can conceptualize that, but it actually doesn't hold up for the discussion that we're talking about. That's just a side point, but I think you'd also find that interesting about the silicon argument.
Well, so look, so suppose that we were super advanced with our engineering technology, that we could just assemble a human brain completely from scratch with carbon, with like normal carbon cellular material. Would that thing have a mind?
Sure. Yeah, I would.
Would it have qualia?
I think it would have. Yeah, okay, I probably would assume it would. Yeah.
What is the fundamental distinguishing feature between that and, like, okay, this is an annoying question to ask, but now say that you swap out one of those neurons with a silicon neuron.
So Theseus's brain or something with silicon?
like at what point? Why is it that all of a sudden swapping it out with silicon makes it so it doesn't have qualia? I don't know. That seems very, very suspect to me. That there's some certain amount of carbon material that you need to have a mind.
He talks about this. He actually does think that like the foundational molecular makeup is sufficiently different to not be able to imitate like neurological behavior in a way that makes the conversation shift a little bit. So I think you're asking the right questions, and I think he's directly answering you in a stronger way than me, but that he would genuinely reject like your ship of Theseus argument about this.
So he would think that it's like physically impossible to simulate like a neuron with like a machine?
Yeah.
That's I don't know why anyone would think that. I mean, like, generally,
yeah,
like silicon, like the reason why I chose silicon is specifically because it's very chemically similar to carbon. It's not identical, of course, but it's very similar.
Right.
So like, why? And what makes carbon so special here?
Yeah, that, you know, that's what I probably don't have the expertise to respond to in detail, but that's essentially the position he commits to. But I want to say, it seems like I've cost you like 200 viewers going on like this droning discussion. But I want to say I really appreciate the good faith discussion, and
Yeah, of course.
I think you'd find some of those things interesting, and then I want to think about some of these questions you've posed as well. So thanks so much.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for being here. And by the way, what was the interview that Alex O'Connor did? Who was it with? I just want to pull it up so I can watch it later.
You know, I can't remember the name, but it should be something like a new argument for quality of realism, or like it's I don't know. Like it's within the last like 2 or 3 weeks.
I'm just gonna scroll through. Why AI will never be conscious?
Tell me the name and then. Yes, I think it's probably that. Yeah.
Is it with Anil Seth?
Bit of a
Anil Seth,
clickbaity
welcome back.
title, but like.
Is it Anil Seth?
I think
Is that the guy's
So
name?
I'd be curious. Yeah, I think so. Let me look that up really quick.
He's like a bald dude.
Yes.
Okay.
Alex O'Connor. Let me. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
I'll
It's a
take a look.
bald dude. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I'll take a look.
So I guess that was in April. That was April 20th. So I was wrong on the timeline.
That's fine.
Yeah, okay. Thanks. Keep dunk on creationists, and you'll get some more viewers in here.
Surely. All right, have a good one. That was good faith. I appreciated that. I know that we did lose viewers, but you know, it's always nice to. It's a good palate cleanser, if you will. All right, we have a few super chats to read, and then we'll bring on our next guest. From Quantum Tap with the $2 Australian, do you think viruses are alive? I don't know, man. Ask biologists. I'm not a biologist. From Pensive with the $20, I assert Blitz is a badass, attempting to make the world a better place one live at a time. Yes, that is the goal. The goal is to make, leave behind a better world than we got. What's the phrase? Leave behind a better world than we started with, something like that. From Mike Angel with the $2, my Jesus looks like Obi-Wan McGregor. From Joshua Brown with the $2, viruses don't meet the criteria to being live. Sure, some people think that. From Garba Gaiman, long time no see, learning the descriptions of the apple is called semantic memory and is stored in the hippocampus. Experiencing it would be episodic memory. That's an interesting point. Yeah, and so that's roughly the pushback that I give, which is that like it's just a different neural pathway. It's like a different so you learn in a different way, and so it forms a different neural pathway, and so you wouldn't be able to learn everything there is about it, right? Let me make sure I didn't miss anything. Somebody says Lamau gave money and got done dirty, but I don't see that's from the Booger Beater. I don't actually see your super chat anywhere. I'm sorry. If mods, if one of you guys can find it, that'd be super great. Just so then you can let me know. From Optopoppet with the $5, Blitz, the more important question is, if we built a human brain with silicon instead of carbon, could we run Doom on it? Yes, of course you could. You can run Doom on anything. All right, let's bring up Viper. Viper, how's it going? Viper? All right. Let's bring up Sam. Oh, actually, I think Cloudonite has been around for a long time. Cloudonite. You're here. Cloudonite, how's it going?
Good.
Glad to hear it. Cloudonite, do you believe in God?
Yes, of course.
Okay, why should I believe in God? I'm an atheist.
Well, first of all, did you believe in God in the first place?
Not that I can remember.
Like, from all of the things that you were debating, etc., did you believe in God in the first place? Like,
I already answered your question. Not that I can remember.
Okay. I okay congratulate you on that, though, because many people that were here, like, they were mostly, like, uneducated or, like, yapping nonsense, actually, so that's okay.
So why should I believe in a God?
So, logically, the concept of God, like, what do you define? Like, what's the definition of God?
Look, it's whatever you think it is.
No, I'm asking you, what's the definition of God? How do you perceive the God?
I don't think that God exists.
No, I'm asking you the definition.
Okay, so the working definition that I use is something like some sort of metaphysical,
God,
supernatural being that is responsible for grounding or creating the universe, the physical world, something like that.
Yeah, and if you want to like debate, you have to know what you're debating about.
So I'm asking you to convince me to believe in your God. So whatever it is that you think God is, that should be your goal. Your goal should be to convince me that thing is real.
That's why I asked you the definition of God. You answered
right, but it's but you're not going to convince me of something you don't believe in. So why don't you just tell me what it is you believe in, and then we can talk about it.
No, I wanted to know what's the opinion on the word God. What's the definition? How
I just gave it to you. Now, can you tell me what you think God is and what it is you believe in?
I believe it's something eternal too. I believe it's all powerful, and it has been here since ever, and nothing could have created it, because if it actually has been created, then we have this infinite loop of creations, no?
Okay, so why should I believe in that thing?
Well, am I logically correct though?
What do you mean logically correct? You just offered me a definition.
If we have a infinite loop of creations, does it have an end?
Kind of by definition, no.
Exactly. So we have to have somebody that's like all eternal and somebody that had to create it, no?
No. How does that follow?
So you cannot have something that's infinitely creating itself, and you cannot have something that has like been eternal here. So then what do you want to have?
Look, what is the thing that you believe in?
God.
I'm not even sure. Okay, so you believe in God. Why should I believe in the God that you believe in?
I'm just asking you right now. Don't deflect what I told you.
Look, the prompt, and you can see it, right? The prompt says, "Can you convince me to believe in your God?" I just want to know what is the argument? What is the reason why I should believe in the God that you believe in? You just keep asking me questions. Those aren't arguments.
I told you the God is eternal. We're discussing.
Okay, yeah, that's the thing that you're trying to convince me exists. Why should I think that it exists?
I just told you that. Where are you deflecting again?
You didn't tell me anything. You just asked a bunch of questions.
Of course, and
that's not an argument. That's not a bunch of questions isn't an argument. A bunch of questions isn't evidence. A bunch of questions isn't proof. I just want you to give me an argument. Give me a reason, not just ask me a question.
I just gave you questions. If you're not willing to answer them,
questions are not reasons.
We're discussing.
So give me a reason. The foundational question of the live stream is, can you convince me to believe in your God? The way that you answer that question is with a reason I should believe in a God. Give me a reason. Without a reason is not a question.
I told you our existence has to prove the God's existence too, because if the God wasn't like eternal and all being here, all powerful, etc., we wouldn't be here then.
Okay, so that's an argument. That's an argument, right? You're saying that in order for us to exist, there must be a being that's all powerful. Okay, why should I think that that's true?
Well, because logically, if you have something that's not all eternal, then it has its own creation then, no? By what we are going right now.
When you say creation, do you just mean that there's like a first moment that it exists? Or do you mean...
like it existing for a period of time, I guess. Let's say that.
Well, so we're talking... the trouble is that we're talking about time itself. Because, you know, presumably this God of yours created time itself.
If it's God, then God doesn't... On God, nothing works. Like, we don't apply like laws of physics on him, right? The time, etc. It cannot be applied.
Yeah. But so when we talk about the universe, the universe includes time in it. So I'm not sure what it would mean to say that time was created.
Well, universe,
you know,
time is man-made actually.
Time is man-made?
Yes, it's made because of our solar system, so we can track.
I'm not talking about like hours. I'm talking about like the flow, the existence of separate moments of time.
Well, that's just man-made.
You think that there are no separate moments of time? That every moment of time is, you know, that every moment of time is actually non-distinct?
Yes, I actually believe that there's like some
Okay,
moments
can you
that happen.
can you remember the future?
No, I can't.
Why can't you remember the future if the future's just made up? If the future's just made up, it should be the same as the past. So why can't you remember it?
Well, if I can't remember future, like, wait, I'm confused right now. What are you trying to prove?
I'm trying to demonstrate that time is at least something physically emergent. It's some real property of the world. It's not just something that humans made up.
Well, I mean, it has its like. I didn't study whatever the time thing you were talking about, but I came to convince you about God. I don't want to dig into the time thingy if I'm gonna speak up nonsense.
Well, if you want to say that there's a beginning of time, unfortunately, you're going to need to know something about these kinds of arguments.
Well, my argument was that we have something that's eternal, right? Nothing implies on him, okay? Like nothing.
Could the universe be eternal? Could the universe be eternal?
Like, it depends. If it created us as like eternal being, let's say we refer to the universe as God, then.
Well, the universe isn't God.
Well, then it has to. It needs its own creation. Then where it came from?
Why couldn't it be eternal?
Well, it can be eternal, but then it has to be all powerful too, no? Because
why does it have to be all powerful?
It made us came to existence, no?
It's not hard. It turns out it's not hard to make people.
Well, why don't we make them then?
We do, my guy. It's called having unprotected sex.
Yes,
that's how you make people. It's not that hard.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, right.
So
what was the question then? What did you want to prove?
Why should I think that the universe is all powerful?
Well, without it being all powerful, you wouldn't be here then, no? How do you think you came here?
Because my parents had unprotected sex. Actually, that's not true. My parents had protected sex, but it was, a failed condom or something. Sorry, one more time. How did they? But because their parents did that.
Yes, and we have to reach a specific end, because if we're going to say
there is an origin of life. The origin of life is a process called abiogenesis, and we can describe abiogenesis via chemical processes.
Okay, and where did it came from?
Where did what come from?
Like the origin of life. It had to begin somewhere, no?
It began on Earth, like 4 billion years ago.
Where did the Earth came from?
It formed gravitationally in the accretion disk surrounding the sun.
Exactly, and where did the gravity and etc. came from?
I don't think gravity came from anywhere. Well, I think that gravity. I think that if the universe has always existed, then gravity has always existed.
Okay, then you are referring to the universe, that it has some powers that made us exist.
I don't think the universe is an agent.
You just said that the universe had the gravity always, because if the universe
that's not a power. That's a property.
Well, exactly. You're giving it property. The
universe has properties. So, sure.
So the universe is all eternal, as you said, and it has a property. It has a property.
Yeah,
so
it has lots of properties.
Exactly. So you're just referring to a god now. Because
nope, not referring to a god. It doesn't have a mind. It doesn't have a will. It doesn't have desires. It doesn't have memories. It doesn't have knowledge.
Well, God, you don't have to imply to the god that it has mind, etc. Because
I'm sorry. If it doesn't have a mind, then I'm not calling it a god.
Well, we don't know.
That was part of the definition that I gave you, actually.
Wait, we have minds. It's all powerful. So if you're gonna just put,
I don't think the universe is all powerful either.
Huh?
I don't think the universe is all powerful either.
So then it has to have its own beginning, then, no?
Why? How does not being all powerful mean that it has to have a beginning? How are those two things related?
If it's not all powerful, then it cannot sustain itself.
I don't know what you mean by it cannot sustain itself.
It couldn't make itself then.
It didn't make itself. It's always existed.
And then,
at least in this idea.
Yeah, and then how does the logic explain that it doesn't have any power to create nothing, and then it always existed? Then
it doesn't have the power to create nothing, but it always... Look, so the universe, at least in this paradigm, the universe has always existed. The universe has certain properties. One of the properties would be like gravity. Another property would be like electromagnetism. It has certain properties. And as a result of those properties, things within the universe occur. I don't see what the issue is.
And how did the other materials that came to the forming of Earth and etc. came from?
As a result of those properties.
And so the properties made the things that weren't there able to come to existence.
Well,
right?
the properties, or we could call them features if you don't like the word properties. These properties are the kinds of things that describe the relations between objects in the universe. So like if you have two stars and they're near each other, one of the properties of the universe is that there will be a gravitational attraction between them.
And you didn't answer though, if the properties...
I just answered.
Okay, but I meant like, you have sun, etc. Like, if the sun came to exist, it had to exist from something, no?
Yeah, it formed. It formed gravitationally. Yeah. So you had a whole bunch of gas, and that gas had a gravitational pull, and it attracted itself, and it collapsed, and then formed a star. So what's the issue?
Where did the dust come from? Where did the dust come from?
From whatever formed the dust prior, and it would have been gas here. So most of the gas would have formed 13.8 billion years ago.
And it could come from anything, like from nothing, just snap to
reality? It didn't just pop into existence, no. And these things all have physical mechanisms by which they arise.
And
so like the protons that make up the hydrogen gas, those protons formed about a second after or around 13.8 billion years ago, a second after what we would call the Big Bang, because there were freely streaming quarks, and the universe was very, very hot. The universe's expansion caused the universe to cool, and that allowed the quarks to form from a quark gluon plasma, or the protons to form rather. Like all of these things have mechanisms. I just don't see why we need a god. This doesn't make it a god just because there's some sort of physical mechanism that makes things happen.
I believe that it has its own mechanism, because if it didn't, we wouldn't exist, no? Because it had to create us, no? And what I'm saying is, if you have all of these mechanisms, it had to have its own beginning too then, no? Because
what had its own? Why does the universe have to have its own beginning? Just because there's mechanisms that function within the universe.
If the universe created us, then it doesn't have to. It cannot have its own beginning. Then, that's what I'm trying to tell you. If you're going to refer to the quarks and protons that they existed and they just started to form out of some random processes and mechanisms, then you're just going nowhere, because you're just saying it came from something. It came from something.
Yeah, I think that in this paradigm, everything came from something. Everything within the universe came from something, or it's always existed. Those are the kind of two options that you have.
It's up to you if you refer to the universe as God in this.
Well, no,
moment.
But the point is I don't. That's not what the word God means. And it's also not. It's also not what you believe in. So I'm curious what it is that you believe in and why I should believe what you believe.
What do you believe that made us? Then what do you believe that made us?
I think that there was a natural process that that gave rise to humans. A natural process gave rise to humans.
No, but what do you think that made us here? Made everything, the Big Bang, except.
I don't think that there was a thing that made that. I think that these are natural processes that happen.
And do you think like it was always existed?
I think it's possible. Yeah.
So you're referring to them as eternal then?
I think it's possible, yeah. That like all of these fundamental features of the universe are eternal. Yeah, it's possible.
Okay, and then they had to be powerful enough to make us.
No, they aren't. Natural mechanisms aren't things that you describe as powerful.
Well, they had to have some sort of power in order to make us create. Like make us appear.
They are not agents. They don't have power. They don't take actions.
Gravity isn't a power. Gravity isn't a power.
It's a property or a feature of the universe.
And how does it?
That's like saying a steering wheel is a power of a car.
Well,
like no, it's just like a part of a car. It's not a power.
Okay, let's go like with a different approach. Let's say like. You have a machine that no one ever heard of, or like.
Hey, so what is it? So Cloud Knight.
Wait, let me.
I'm sorry. You've interrogated me now for 10 minutes. So no, I'm going to interrupt you now. So Cloud Knight, you've interrogated me for now 10 minutes. So what is the God that you believe in? No, because we were done with that topic, and now you want to change topic. So what is the God that you believe in, Cloud Knight?
Wait, I wanted to finish my sentence. You interrupted me.
I did interrupt you because you were changing topics. You were pivoting. So no, I'm not.
Talking about the same. I'm
No,
talking
no, no.
about the
You were
same
you were
thing,
about
but
to you were
just
about to
with a
start
different
talking about a
approach.
machine. Right, I
No,
know,
I'm
I know.
talking
So we were
about the
done with that
same
approach.
thing.
So I'm going to take this. I'm going to take this time to now ask you questions. So what is the God that you believe
why
in?
are you going to ask me questions in the middle of debate? You just closed an
Because the
undisclosed
debate is,
debate.
can you convince me to believe in your
You are
God?
well
I don't even
aware
know
what
what
you're
it is the
doing.
God that you believe in.
You're well aware what you're doing. I told you
I
what
don't
I
even know.
believe in. I told you
So
in the
wait a
beginning.
minute. I'm sorry. So are you Muslim?
Yes.
Okay. So why should I believe in Allah? Why should I believe in a God with what, 99 names, 99 properties? Why should I believe in this God?
It's not like 99 names. It's just like attributes. Like
No, I know.
other names you
That's
can
why I
call.
said
It's
99
like,
properties. I know.
It's like
So
you
look,
having
because the universe is not what you don't believe that the universe is God. So I'm asking you, can you convince me to believe in Allah, not the universe?
Allah is the same as in true Christianity God was like. So it's just in Arabic. Allah means.
I understand that, but that's not the same as the universe. So can you convince me to believe in this metaphysical supernatural being that with a mind, with a will, with agency, with thoughts, with knowledge, that created physical reality? Can you convince me to believe in that?
Well, I stand on my own that it had to be eternally here. Without the God being eternally here, we shouldn't exist then. That's my point. If you're
right, but what's the argument for that?
I just gave you the argument.
No, you just made an assertion that if God were not eternally here, then we wouldn't exist. But what's the argument for why you should think that's true?
Well, because if you don't have anything that created us, or something that had to create something, then you're just gonna have continuous loop, or basically end up.
And so what's the problem with that? What's the problem with that? What's the argument against that?
Well, it doesn't. Well, the logic doesn't apply to it because everything needs to have its own creation. It needs to have
everything
its own
has to need its own creation, including Allah.
Yes. No. If it's
so not
gonna
everything.
Exactly.
So not everything needs its own creation.
Yeah, I made a mistake. Not everything except God, because if the God.
So that's just special pleading. Do you know what special pleading is?
Well, because if the God had creation, then it would go infinite. You know.
Yeah, you're right. So not everything needs creation then. Is the point?
It has to be supernatural though.
Why does it have to be supernatural?
Yes.
Why does it have to be supernatural?
Well, because it would need to have its own creation, like creator then, no?
Why?
Why? Well, if it didn't have its own if it wasn't supernatural, then it would need to have its own creator, which implies that it would go on forever then, no?
What is the distinguishing feature between natural and supernatural, such that supernatural things don't need their own creator and natural things do?
Like, I referred it to the God. If the God, like, if the creation thing didn't apply to God, if the creation thing applied to God, then the God himself would need another God, which disproves or like contradicts the word meaning God, so it wouldn't be a God in the end.
So it just sounds like you gave an argument for God not existing.
Yeah, I just told you that. So
we agree God doesn't exist?
No, I told you the argument. If the God was, you could create God, then the God couldn't exist, or it would have infinite loop of another God.
Yeah. So the question is why should I think that it's possible for a supernatural thing to create itself?
No, it didn't create itself.
Why should I think that it's possible for a supernatural thing to not have been created, but a natural thing must have been created?
Why do I need to think that universe is eternal too then?
Look, you don't need to. I'm not here to convince you to believe that your God doesn't exist. You're here to convince me that your God does exist.
Well, but you had the same belief then.
I was just giving you an example of a possibility that means that the things that you were asserting that it has to be this way. And I was just giving you an example of like a way that the world could be. That is not the way you're saying it has to be.
Okay, so it's just a theory for you then.
It's a possibility. It's something that I can't rule out, and it doesn't seem like you can rule it out either.
Well, logically I can.
Okay, how do you rule it out logically?
If that's the case, if the universe was eternal and all powerful, then it had to be like, if the universe was like all powerful and eternal, it has to be God then.
Nobody said anything about all powerful. You keep saying that. I just said eternal.
I'm just saying to you because if it's eternal, then what? Everything that happens
Then that just means that
it,
it's always existed. That's all it means. It doesn't mean anything about power.
Okay, and everything that exists inside of it, where did it came from then? If it always existed,
it either always existed or something else made it exist.
Exactly.
But again, the point is what's the logical contradiction with it always existing and not being all powerful?
Well, you deflected my first question I wanted to answer though, and you're just trying to mess me up with those questions.
I know, I'm just trying to get you to actually address the prompt here. The prompt is, can you convince me to believe in your God? Which means that you have to provide arguments for God. You have to provide arguments.
I'm going to ask you something. Will you mind answering it?
As long as it's on topic related to whether or not you can convince me to believe in your God, sure.
It's on topic. Okay, let's say it's still referring to the topic of God. I'm not going away from it, okay? Let's say you have a machine. I'm just going to say metaphorically, let's say, imagine you have a machine no one ever heard of, and nobody ever knew about. Like, somebody created a new
Can I stop you for
machine.
a sec? Cloud Knight, I just want to do something. I'm gonna predict the future. You're gonna say, aren't you able to look at it and tell that it was designed? Oh God, I just got a vision from the future. All right, go ahead, continue.
Okay. So if a new object or machine, which no one has ever seen, okay, right? Or heard before, is shown to you or other people that don't have any clue about it, who's gonna be the first person to provide details, about the machine?
Who's gonna be the first person to provide details about the machine?
Yeah.
I don't know. Whoever finds it and takes it apart.
What?
Like if nobody knows what it is, then I guess the person who will provide details about it would be the person who finds the machine and then takes it apart to try to figure out how it works.
If you go to school, you don't go to teacher to...
But nobody's ever heard of it. A teacher's not going to be able to tell you anything. Nobody's ever heard of it.
If nobody's have heard of it, invention, and he has to present, there's a specific person that made it, right? So you're gonna approach the guy.
Well, if it's a machine, then kind of definitionally, yeah.
Exactly. So it has to have its creator, and you can imply the same on God.
It's almost like I predicted the future.
Well, you can also imply it on us.
That the machine that nobody's heard of must have a creator. Well, yeah, machines kind of by definition have creators. As far as I'm aware, universes don't.
We have creator too, no?
Is the universe a machine?
No, I said it's metaphorically.
Okay, so then why should I think that the universe has a creator? The only reason I think that the machine has a creator is because machines are the kinds of things that have creators.
Okay, and why?
So why should I think that applies to the universe?
Why don't you believe that universe doesn't have a creator then?
Oh, it doesn't seem like it does.
Why is that so?
Well, there are a lot of features about our universe that are not, the kinds of things that we would expect of a creation. So generally, engineers, these are the engineers and inventors, they generally try to design things in the simplest way. Simplicity is usually a sign of elegance, but our universe is extraordinarily complicated. The kind of life that exists on Earth is very, very complicated and not nearly as simple as it could have been. And so it seems like that this is more of the kind of thing that would exist if it was kind of just hacked together by a random process, rather than the kind of thing that had some sort of intentional design behind it before it was even built.
So by the fact that you just gave, you believe that everything that is complicated or
our universe is pretty complicated. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on in the universe. It's complicated.
You're limiting the all-powerful God from making the universe a creation. Then no.
No, what I'm saying is that the signs of one of the signs of design is elegance and simplicity.
Well, you
solving problems in the simplest way possible.
Well, you don't know then. Wait, it's actually stupid though, because if you don't believe, then if something is way too complex for your brain to understand, you don't believe that nobody ever made it, then because you're just limiting the God
If it's
himself.
not, if it's not elegant, if it's not solving a problem in the simplest way possible, then that is evidence against design. Now, what you could say is that, you know, maybe it is designed, it just has a bad designer, but you wouldn't want to say that, would you, Cloudonite?
Well, I mean, if you have God, you have to believe too that he created everything to the exception of none.
Is God a bad designer?
No, he's not.
Well, then he should have made the universe in the most elegant and simple way possible to achieve the goals, but he didn't, because our universe, like the commenter said, our universe is like a Rube Goldberg machine. It's like glued together haphazardly.
You don't know the exact thing that he was like. You don't know the meaning that it has carrying like inside of it. Why is it so complicated, etc. Our minds are limited to the point that
we know the functions of various parts of the human body, for example. We know the functions of various organs in the human body, for example, various features of anatomy. For example, the recurrent laryngeal nerve is a nerve that runs from your brain down around your heart and then up to your larynx. Now, we know the function of that nerve. The function of that nerve is to provide innervation, meaning to like provide the nerve endings for your larynx, for your voice box, right? Now, that's the function. And so what we would expect from a good designer is that that nerve would go in the shortest possible route so that it has as few possible places where it could go wrong, right? It can't get caught on things. It requires less energy to grow it. And yet, in fact, it seems that I think that all mammals have this, and perhaps even all vertebrates have this. There is a particular mammal. Are you familiar with the giraffe?
Mm-hmm.
So, let me show you a diagram. It's extraordinarily funny. Here, one sec. So this is extraordinarily funny. So here we have, in the bottom right, we have the human. The recurrent laryngeal nerve, you can see that it goes down from the brain, it loops around the aorta, and it comes back up to the voice box, right? It's not that far. But in a giraffe, it goes down from the brain, travels 10 feet or more, wraps around the aorta, and then comes all the way back up to the voice box. Does that seem like simple, elegant design to you?
Well, I mean, it has its own meaning if the God made it, no? It had to be purposely made.
This seems like a good example of bad design, of like an incompetent engineer. If it is designed. Alternatively, the better explanation, explanation is that this is an evolved phenomenon, and so evolution does generally produce good enough, but usually not best designs. So this is good enough, it gets the job done, but it's definitely not the best design. In fact, arguably it's a bad design, but it's good enough to, you know, not kill the giraffe most of the time.
But still, it doesn't mean nothing. Even if the God made the most complex things, it's still its own creator. You don't know.
Complexity is a sign of bad design. When simpler designs could function. I mean, well, so you're trying to provide evidence for design, and I'm telling you that the example of the recurrent laryngeal nerve in the giraffe is an example of either a bad designer, or is evidence of either a bad designer or a non-designed organism.
Being complex, it doesn't mean it's bad. It's maybe because our human brain is limited, and to the extent we don't know why is it like that, or we cannot understand.
So it sounds like on your worldview, you just can't know anything. It sounds like on your worldview, you just can't know anything. You can't know why. You can't know why the recurrent laryngeal nerve goes all the way around the aorta.
There are explanations to some things, and there are not explanations to other things because.
Okay, so there is an explanation for why the giraffe is the way that it is, but it's because of evolution, not because of design.
Yeah, I guess we figured that out, but you don't know why the nerve is like that because
we do know why. No, we do know why the nerve is like that. Actually. It's evolutionary. It's an evolutionary feature.
So why do you call it bad design then? If
Well, because
evolution
if it wasn't designed, or if it was designed, then it's a bad design. Fortunately, we know it wasn't designed; it was evolved.
So then, you call evolution a bad designer?
Evolution isn't a designer at all. Evolution is a natural process. Evolution is a natural process of basically doing random changes, and then occasionally one of them works well, and so that one thrives. Evolution has no intentionality behind it.
And if you believe in evolution, why don't you believe in God too then? Because evolution is a theory that we didn't confirm 100% too, no?
And yeah, and God's not even a theory. God's like a shower thought. And yes, evolution is a fact of the world.
No, we didn't prove it 100% though. We have some stable like.
You can just see evolution. Evolution is just a fact of the world. Like this is not in question.
It could have been made up by God to mislead our minds.
Yeah, so if it was made up by God, then God's a bad designer.
No, I meant he made like creations, like different creations or like errors to mislead other people.
Is God a deceiver? Is God a deceiver? Oh, so then he wouldn't do anything to deceive people.
Maybe he made tests to rule out the bad people.
Sounds like a deceiver. Sounds like you believe in a deceiver.
If he made us all perfect, then why is the point of having the religion then?
I don't know, Cloudonite, with these views, it sounds like you're going to Jahannam. Like, it sounds like you're going to Jahannam with these views.
Right.
Like, you think that God is a deceiver, that God's capable of deception?
You said it. I didn't say that. I never claimed that.
Hold on, maybe I'm misremembering. I just want to double check. Let me just double check something, okay? It's for design, and I'm telling you that the example of the recurrent laryngeal nerve. I'm just gonna replay the audio. It's an evolutionary feature. Evolution is not doing thrive.
If you believe in evolution, why don't you believe in God too then? Because evolution is a theory that we didn't confirm 100% too, no?
And yeah, and God's not even a theory. God's like a shower thought. And yes, evolution is a fact of the world.
No, we didn't prove it 100% though. We have some stable like.
You can just see evolution. Evolution is just a fact of the world. Like this is not in question.
It could have been made up by God to mislead our minds.
Yeah, so if it was made up by God. Sorry, what was that? Made up by God to mislead?
Well, I didn't finish. That's the point.
Okay, I'll continue playing it. If it was made up by God, then
I
God's a
wanted
bad
to
designer.
finish, but then you just. No, I meant he made like creations, like different creations or like errors to mislead other people.
Is God a deceiver? He made all of these errors to mislead the people who don't have faith.
That's why he gave us free will to find out.
That's deception. That's your God doing a deception.
He gave us right answers. The right answers are in front of you. You're just not willing to accept.
I just want to confirm. Ems, can you DM me the claim?
Also, the claim that the M pointed is translation error because if you were because
the claim that M pointed. Do you know what I'm referring to?
Yes, the deceiving error in the Quran that they are pointing out to. It's actually
So wait a minute. To be clear, you think that God doesn't deceive, even though you said that God does deceive.
I have more like a language barrier since I'm not an English-speaking person, so it's more hard. It's harder for me to express myself than it would be in my own language. So if you get what I mean, if you don't, it's okay. But just so you know, I didn't mean it like you.
Okay, how did you mean it? How did you mean it?
Wait, let me think for a moment then.
Yeah, go ahead. Take your time.
From a thought. Like basically, if let's say the evolution, right? Wait, which part? 1 minute.
Do you got to take that? It's okay if you have to take that. All right. We'll let him go. We'll bring up another guest. All right, we have some super chats and we'll bring up our next guest. Guys, I have to get a root canal tomorrow. And the worst part is that it's going to cost $1,000 with insurance. Isn't that the worst? From Tot Ropfli with the 5. Are those Swedish francs? Yes, they're Swiss francs, not Swedish francs. Are we having another bro moment? Maybe we are. From Grimmy with the $10, God can't have created everything, since humans create machines that could never be found in nature unless God is trying to take credit for human achievements. Fucking plagiarist. True, that's a good point. That's a very good point, Grimlock. We do make some things. Dental should be medical, I agree. From Binary Ghost with the $5, take a look outside. Is the sun in the sky? You had better thank Helios. True. True, yeah. I mean, it's all Helios's fault. Yeah, the thing about the root canal is, like, my dental insurance, I specifically looked for, like, somebody in network to do it, and I found a good person, but it's like $1,000, and then I'll need a crown on it, which will be like another $1,400, I think. So, you know, root canals plus crown, it's not great. I don't love it. We have a $2 Cash App from Robert. Thank you so much, Robert, and don't worry, I appreciate you regardless. And from Grimlocks for Cause I Can, Soup for Stew. I think I'm more of a stew guy. You're in the USA? Of course I'm in the USA. What do you take me for? Something else? All right, let us bring up our next guest. Root canals never last long. 1,400 for a crown is just a little piece of metal. Crowns are not just little pieces of metal these days. But anyway. Let's talk to Sam SCD account.
Hello.
Sam SCD account, how's it going?
I'm great, thanks. So,
Glad to hear it.
I'd like to argue for just a powerful creator, if that's all right. So I'm not going to be giving him any real attributes.
Is it an ultimate creator? Like, is it the foundational creator, or could it have been created itself?
Yeah, it's foundational, but we're not going with omnibenevolence, and we're not going to say he's all-knowing.
Sure.
So my main arguments, which I like one of the design arguments, which is the one from Temporal Order. So do you know like the problem of induction?
Yeah.
Well, I can't get behind the idea that science, just like the rules of the universe, magically continue to stay the same. I think that's a weird inference to make.
Why do they need? I don't see how it's an inference. It seems like kind of the expectation. Expecting them to change without some sort of cause seems like that would be the unusual thing.
Well, that's again using induction, because
no, that's not using induction. It's using the metaphysical principle of existential inertia,
which is
no, it's not a law of science. This is a metaphysical principle. This is the claim that things stay the way they are unless caused to change.
But does that not use evidence?
It's a metaphysical principle. This is not a scientific. This is not a scientific claim.
Is it like a logical principle? Because I don't think
it's a metaphysical principle. In the same way that you can say that something cannot come from nothing, it's a metaphysical principle. Things remain the same unless caused to change is also a metaphysical principle. It's called existential inertia.
What's like the reasoning behind believing metaphysical principles, though? Is it like the definition of the words?
The reasoning behind them, generally they line up with our intuitions.
Well,
I mean, you could provide arguments. You can provide arguments for them, I guess, if you want. But like, what is the reason for believing that something can't come from nothing? It's just like it aligns with that something cannot come from nothing.
Well, I guess it's just the fact that it doesn't seem contradictory that it could. So like, I don't know. Do you know like Hume's fork? Like
Sorry, that wasn't my question. Look, so there's a metaphysical principle that most people accept, which is that you can't have nothing give rise to something.
Well, I don't think it's a contradiction to imagine.
Right. Nobody's making the claim that it's a contradiction, but it's a metaphysical principle.
So it's just like an idea that most people seem to agree on.
It's not physical, it's not logical, it's somewhere in between. It
But what purpose would
it supersedes the physical. It's sort of a grounding claim, or it's sort of like a foundational claim that we use to kind of ground physics and ground the physical, but it's not strictly like a logical truth.
But then how would that solve the issue of induction?
Well, your claim was that it seems weird that the laws of nature don't just change randomly, and I'm like, actually, it would seem more weird to me if they did change randomly.
Well, I just don't see how you can compare what's weird and not weird without using evidence.
So then why did you say that it seems weird that the laws of physics aren't changing randomly?
Because if there's no evidence in favor of either hypothesis, then either of them are valid.
Okay, so then you agree that it's entirely valid to say that the laws of nature should be consistent.
No, both of them are valid, right? So you'd want another reason to believe one over the other.
Yeah, okay, so what's the reason to believe one over the other?
Well, one possible reason is a personal explanation. So there's a creator who's keeping the laws consistent.
Sorry, that wasn't the question that I was asking. Look, so the question is, it's either unnatural for the laws of nature to stay the same, or it's unnatural for the laws of nature to change. In both cases, we're saying that there's no underlying cause. So what's the reason to think that it's more unnatural to think that the laws of physics stay the same than it is to think that it's more unnatural to say that the laws of physics change?
Well, I've said that using evidence, we can't provide like a reason to believe either.
Sure. Okay. So then it seems like that there's just no justification. It seems like that at best we should be agnostic about the issue.
Yeah, I can kind of get behind that, to be fair.
So if this issue gets us to at best agnosticism, why should I believe in a god then?
Well, in this case, it's just providing evidence for an unanswered question. So this is more like God would be the solution to lots of different things, and because there's so many different things that require like a similar solution, you could invoke God as like a possible answer.
Well, sure,
it's not
but
like, this isn't a proof. It's evidence. Okay.
Look, so you're saying that God is a possible answer for a lot of different questions, and like that's fair. It could very well. By the way, there's some echo. Are you using like Bluetooth speakers or something?
Oh, sorry. I don't know how I can fix that because it's on my phone speaker.
Are you like connected via Bluetooth or?
No, I'm actually not sure why that is.
Try minimizing the app and then reopening it.
Okay, yeah, give me a second.
I didn't mean close out of the app.
Is that any better?
I don't know. Let's find out. Yes, it is. It's much better. Okay. So look, it may very well be the case that God is a good answer, or is perhaps a possible answer for a lot of questions. God is also provides a lot more questions if you suppose that it exists, and those questions then require answers as well. But even beyond that, suppose that God didn't produce any additional questions. It's happening again, by the way. It's fine, but it's happening. Even if God didn't produce more questions if it existed, just because something provides answers doesn't mean that that thing exists, right? It's not even necessarily evidence that that thing exists. At best, it is, it's evidence, but in the wrong direction, right? If that thing existed, then it would be evidence that there are answers to those questions. But there being answers to those questions if the thing existed is not evidence that the thing exists.
Well, would you apply that to science as well? Like, I don't know, the gravitational force, for example. Because we can't. Well, I'm sure you could like do a really skeptical view where the gravitational force isn't actually real, but it's actually fairies that are causing objects to be like move towards each other. And I don't understand why. Would you not say then that the same problem would apply to science, where the observations aren't actual evidence that it exists? It's just a answer to the observations. Or am I
Look, so
misrepresenting what you're saying?
yeah, a little bit.
Okay, my bad.
There's the echo again. Oh, and it's really bad now.
Okay, I think it's to do with my volume. I can turn you down a little bit. Wait, can you try saying something?
Testing 1 2 3. Okay, it's quieter now. That's okay. It's still not great, but it's acceptable. So look, you can take a skeptical position. Absolutely, you can. And so the way that we, so it sounded, and just correct me if I'm wrong, it sounded like you were trying to make an abductive case, which is
I actually one of the arguments which I somewhat subscribe to is the ontological one. So I guess you could say that's deductive, but.
Well, okay, we were talking about some other argument.
The
if you want to talk about the ontological argument, we can, but.
I don't think I want to talk about that right now, but the temporal argument would be abductive, yeah.
Yeah, so it sounds like you're making an abductive argument, whereas science typically relies on inductive cases, namely that we're finding patterns and then we generalize those patterns. That's not really what you're doing, so the style of argumentation is a little bit different between what science does and what you're claiming to do. The abductive and inductive are similar, but they're not the same thing, right? And so when we say that we have evidence in science, what we're really talking about is inductive evidence, right? We have some specific set of data points and we use that to generalize to the whole. Whereas what you're talking about is you're saying, oh well, can't we explain things with a different thing, and therefore gravity isn't an explanation. Depending on your view of what physics is sometimes taken to be like, or depending on your view of science, if you have an instrumentalist view, the instrumentalist view is not that gravity is a thing that actually exists, merely that it is a useful tool to make predictions about the future. And in that view, the inductive view is all you need. You don't need abduction. You don't need inference to the best explanation, because you're not seeking to explain, you're seeking to predict. And so no, I wouldn't say that the skepticism towards gravity, at least in the instrumentalist view, is the same kind of skepticism that I'm offering.
Okay, well, this is going to be a tiny bit out of my depth, so I could be wrong about this, but are there not things in physics which we invoke which are like unobservable by nature? Like, is dark matter not... Dark matter's invoking something which we cannot test for, we can't prove.
Well, so...
But we use it. The same. I'm kind of invoking God.
Yeah. So not really. So dark matter is like, it's like a hypothesis, right? We have this thing that we need to. We have these observations. These observations don't line up if we just take our normal observations and we try to plug them into our normal equations that are really good at predicting the future. They don't line up. So we're like, okay, well, so what do we need to change about our models in order to make better predictions, in order to predict what actually happens in the world? And one of the things about our models is that you can predict. You can say, well, in our models we're going to plug in extra matter that we can't see, and that makes good predictions. That's the dark matter hypothesis. There are other models, of course, where they propose that the formulas that we use for gravity are incorrect. These are called modified Newtonian dynamic models, or these are MOND, if you will. And so, like, dark matter is not a definitive thing. We have a lot of evidence that the correct way to make predictions about the future is based on having matter that is invisible but still gravitationally effective. Now, this doesn't mean it's not in principle detectable. One could detect it via other mechanisms, via like weak decays, and people are looking for these things. But yeah, I mean, this is the kind of thing where we have a model, and then we adjust the model so that we can better make predictions about the world around us.
Okay, fine. Yeah, I think I misunderstood how we do things like that within science.
Sure.
But I think you can get some pretty strong arguments which you could say are is it deductive, where it's like a proof?
Yeah.
You can get some. Well, I think a deductive argument could be possible in one like
which one?
Well, I guess with the ontological argument,
Are you talking about the modal ontological argument, or which kind of ontological argument?
We are saying that perfection is a source of greatness, and the greatest possible being can be conceived of, and as if it didn't exist, it wouldn't be the greatest possible being. It has to exist.
So how do you know that there is a greatest possible being that's conceivable?
How do I know it's conceivable?
Yeah.
Because we have the ability to always well, imagine you think of the biggest possible number, okay? I can add 1 to your number, so I can always imagine a greater number.
Yep.
And that's like, so by greatest, what I'm saying is that no greater possible being is conceivable.
Okay, but I can conceive of a being that is greater than the one that you're conceiving of.
Then it wouldn't be the greatest that I'm conceiving of by definition.
Yeah, so I'm telling you that it doesn't sound like you're actually conceiving of the greatest possible being. In fact, I'm not even sure you can conceive of the greatest possible being.
I said we can. I didn't say I am. I said like it's
well,
not
but
logically
I don't think we can.
contradictory. Well, it's not like a contradiction that we can, you know. Like whether something
it doesn't have. I mean, like, look, lots of things are not contradictions. That doesn't make them true. You would have to defend the premise that we can conceive that one can conceive of the greatest possible being.
The premise isn't whether or not it's true. Is more if it can exist. It does. If that makes sense.
Okay,
so
but so you need to defend the claim that it can exist.
Well, I'm saying that no matter like what you say against my conception of the being, if I can always conceive of something greater, right? And eventually you will reach the greatest possible being.
Well, no, that's the assertion. It's not a given that just because you can always conceive of something greater, that will terminate, right? That's not guaranteed. In the same way, in fact, you gave the argument for me. If I use the exact same argument, but instead referred to greatest possible number, I would say, oh, well, you know, if you said to me that I wasn't conceiving of the greatest possible number, then I just wasn't conceiving of the greatest possible number. I could conceive of something greater. And so eventually I will get to the greatest possible number, but that's obviously not true.
Well, I mean, following that reasoning, I guess you could if you like.
There is no greatest possible number. There is no greatest possible number.
No other mind. Well,
but there's no greatest possible number, right?
We can there's infinity, which we can.
Infinity is not a number. It's not a number.
Well, no, it's like a placeholder.
It's not a number though, right? There is no number that is the largest.
There's no number that's the largest.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that doesn't mean that there couldn't be one. Well, actually. There isn't a largest possible number. You're right.
So it just seems to me that it's not obvious at all that there is a greatest possible being.
Well, again, like the greatest definition which I'm using is that any other being which you can conceive of, it would be greater than. So okay.
Yeah, it's not clear that it's not clear that such a thing is conceivable.
Could you take
in the same way? I could define the number qued. The number qued is a number that's bigger than all other numbers. I could just say that's what qued means. Qued means the number that's bigger than all other numbers. And if you tried to come up with a number that was bigger than, well then qued's bigger than that. But like, there is no such number. Just because you're saying, oh, this being is the greatest possible being, that doesn't mean that being can exist. That being's possible, right?
Well,
this is something that would have to be demonstrated.
Well, would you accept that, like, okay, if I could magically freeze time and I could map out everyone's conception of greatness and I could add 1 to the highest conceived great being, would you say I've then conceived of the greatest one at that point? At the very least?
So yeah, perhaps there's a distinction being made that hold on. So there's a distinction being made. There's the greatest possible being. And so then we're saying that one could conceive of this. It doesn't follow that just because nobody has yet conceived of it, that therefore the one that's greater than that is actually greater than all possible beings, right? All conceivable beings. Conceivable doesn't mean conceived of.
Would you say that there's like a logical limit to what can be conceived of? Like maybe the energy in the universe?
A logical, that would be a physical limit, not a logical limit.
Well, I don't know. There's like there's gonna be eventually some maximum to what can be conceived of, I guess, and you could always add 1 to that, like.
Yeah, that's
the idea that you could add.
And then you could add 2 to it, and you could add 3 to it, and so which one's the biggest?
Well, there's a limit, so you would get to a point where you cannot.
There is no limit. In fact, the limit of the function x plus, or the limit of the sequence of increasing integers does not exist. There is no limit.
I'm pretty sure it's -1/12, but
no, I'm talking about a sequence, not a sum. Also, the sum
sorry.
is not actually -1/12. That's an analytic continuation, but good meme.
Well, yeah, I wasn't being really serious.
I know.
Fuck, what was the moral of the story? Sorry, I'm kind of.
The moral of the story is that it's not clear to me that there even is a greatest conceivable being or a greatest possible being.
I see.
And that's a claim that needs to be defended.
Well, what if by conceiving of it, you're conceiving of the function, and then the function is like magically filled by the value of the greatest thing being conceived? So like the greatest.
I have no idea what that means.
So I'm saying that God is a being which is greater than any other, and the any other in question is like referring to.
That's not
whatever.
the greatest. So being greater than anything else that exists is not the greatest conceivable being, right?
Well, greater than any other conceivable being.
Actually, here's a question that might puzzle you. It's just food for thought, and maybe it'll go nowhere. But could God conceive of a greater being than himself?
Could he conceive of a greater being than himself?
Yeah.
Well, I haven't assigned one of God's perfections to being all-knowing, so.
Well, no, I'm just. But this is a power, right? He's all powerful, right?
Well, yes, but
the ability to conceive is presumably a power.
I would say that being more powerful than an all-powerful being is a logical contradiction. So no,
we're not talking about being more powerful. We're talking about being greater, in some respect. It doesn't have to be power.
Could he conceive of a being greater than himself?
Yeah.
So again, could he conceive of a being greater than the greatest conceivable being?
Yeah.
So that would be a logical contradiction. Because a being greater than the greatest conceivable being is like, it's just non-cognitive. It doesn't mean anything.
Okay, yeah, sure, that's fair. Like, yeah. Okay, it was just the thought that I had, and I hadn't worked it out in the entirety. Yeah, no, you're fine. So look. So I mean, like, it's just not clear to me that there is such a thing, even possible.
I guess like you could argue that we can conceive of infinity in a way. Like we can meaningfully talk about infinity.
We can meaningfully talk about it. Sure, we can talk about infinite things and so on. But even then, there's not a greatest conceivable infinity.
Well,
like, why couldn't I just take God and say, well, this being, which is all powerful, well, it could be greater if it, had a little bit of humility.
As in, like, you can have different forms of greatness.
Yeah.
I actually had this issue in class a while ago, because I guess you can have like different stats which contradict each other, but the main theist approach to it, I'm fairly sure, is like the best possible combination. So you could. But
how do you decide which one's best?
Which one's best? You use infinite knowledge of like the best combination, and you like lock in. I'm not sure how God would do it.
No, but we're trying to. You can't say I'm not sure how God would do it. We're trying to figure out. Look, so and here's an important point that's probably worth pointing out. There is a let's say that we can scale every stat from say negative infinity to infinity, and inclusive. So we're including infinity on the scale so that you can have a greatest possible value for that stat, right? So God's power stat is infinity, whatever that might mean. Now,
yeah, and the other stats have to be infinity as well, so it's like weird.
No, that's not. My point is that you can. So there is an order that you can place on the real numbers. In fact, there's many orders, but there's a canonical ordering, namely that 1 is less than 2, which is less than 3, etc. And so there's an order that you can place on the real numbers. But once you add another axis, there is no ordering on the xy plane, for example. There's no way to say that 3, 4 is greater than 4, 3. There's no way to compare them. There's no canonical ordering anyway. So it's not clear how, once you have more than one property, how to even talk about how one set of properties is greater than another set of properties.
But does us being able to talk meaningfully about it mean that it can't exist?
Well, the point is that it's going to be very hard to make an argument for its existence, which is what the theist, the burden is on the theist to make this argument, if there's no way to talk about it.
Can you talk about the 3-body problem?
Yeah.
Can we conceive of like the motion of the three body problem? Like,
Yeah.
could we make? Wait. Am I getting this wrong? I swear it's meant to be like impossible.
Yes, you're
to
getting it
predict.
wrong.
What am I thinking of?
We literally have a solution to the
random
three-body
ones.
problem. And we've had the solution for like over 100 years.
But is there not randomness within the universe, like following our current?
The three-body
physical
problem
framework?
doesn't get you to randomness. The three-body problem is chaotic, meaning that it's sensitive to the initial conditions. But it's not random. It's in fact, it's completely deterministic.
But there is randomness, right?
In our universe, that's up for debate.
I thought what's it called, the quantum field theory? That's
Yeah, so
that's the
so
things like exist and don't exist.
So it depends on your interpretation of quantum mechanics. Some interpretations of quantum mechanics have genuine true randomness in them. Other interpretations don't.
Okay, but we can meaningfully talk about truly random things. You know, like we don't need to be conceiving of true randomness. We can still talk about it as a concept.
Sure, but what I'm saying is I'm not sure how you would compare. Let's say that.
Well,
let's
I'm
say
not
that
saying
there's
I can compare them.
So then how are you going to make an argument that such a thing even exists if there's no way to even compare powers or compare the greatness of two things?
Because whether something could be conceived of and whether I can conceive of it are two different things.
Well, I'm making the claim that it is inconceivable, that there is no such canonical ordering on, multidimensional stat axes.
Yeah, that's the I don't know. Yeah, it's quite weird with greatness, I guess. But you can. Sorry, can you give me a second?
Yeah, you're fine.
I guess we couldn't meaningfully compare the stat axes, you're right, but I don't think that removes like the possibility of it existing still.
Right, but the ontological argument goes that there exists a maximally great we can conceive of a maximally great being, right? And then the second premise is that a maximally great being is more, or a being is more great if it is actual rather than merely conceptual. Therefore, the maximally great being is actual. But the first premise, namely that it is conceivable that there is a maximally great being, that's the problem. I don't even think it's conceivable, because how are you supposed to compare power levels? How are you supposed to know whether or not there is indeed a maximal greatness at all? How can you conceive of these things? I mean, like, look, I can just say the words, I'm conceiving of a square circle, but that doesn't mean it's actually conceivable, you know?
Well, if you could say that, like, I'm conceiving of X, where once, if I were to know the grading system, X would be greater than other things. So I'm referring to something which properties I can't fully understand, but I can still meaningfully refer and conceive of it. Like, I'm trying to, okay.
It's hard to, so how much of a thing do you have to be able to understand in order to say that you're conceiving of it? And maybe this is a semantic point, but, you know, maybe the ontological argument is actually semantic.
Well, if I could conceive of the best, like, model, for example, I don't know the traits that would make a model good. I couldn't like grade the best model, but I could still say, oh, like if someone were to say the word, can you conceive of the best model? I could say, well, yeah, sure. If I were to know all the traits which make them good and combine the best possible ones, then yes, I can conceive of that being. And
right, but it seems like you're
I can't.
conceiving of like a category of thing, not the thing itself.
Sorry, what? Wait, how so?
Yeah, so it would be like saying, look, what would be a good example? So, yeah, suppose that somebody asked me, can you conceive of an alien that lives on the sun, right? And I say, well, I don't know how it would work, But like if I did know how the chemistry would work, then like I could conceive of it. And so I'm going to like conceive of the thing that would work if I knew how the chemistry worked. But then I'm not really conceiving of an alien that lives on the sun. I'm more conceiving of what it would be like to conceive of an alien on the sun.
I think the ontological argument works, like even if something could be conceived, like if you accept that it could be conceived, I think that's enough to meet
but that's
meet
one of the
conditions.
premises. I'm not sure why I should accept that premise.
Why you should accept it?
Yeah, that this is something that can be conceived.
I guess it's just because it like follows our intuition about like the way something can always be bigger. Like it follows the
But hold on. But our intuition also says that there's not a biggest thing. That something could always be bigger.
Well, it's kind of like you're trying to. I don't know how to explain it. Once you've got the biggest thing, then it's biggest thing is defined as nothing can be bigger than it. Then it's no longer the biggest thing. But
right. So then it doesn't follow our intuition then.
Well, I'd say that's probably just like wordplay. No. I can't like you can have the biggest thing, but the biggest thing changes once it becomes the biggest thing.
I don't understand that. Can you clarify?
Well, if I describe the biggest thing and then if I describe the biggest thing as every other thing plus one, it's the biggest, right? But
well, it's the biggest thing currently, but it's not like the biggest conceivable thing.
While I'm describing it, the thing I'm describing is the biggest thing.
But it's not the biggest conceivable thing, right?
Well, once it's been conceived, it's not. But before it's been conceived, it is.
Well, no, look. So, is it your claim that there is a biggest conceivable thing?
Any point in time, yes. Like you
I
can
don't
have
think
the
this is
biggest
a temporal statement.
Well, it is, because you've just shown that conceiving of something is like it's like a thing which means that the thing is no longer the biggest. So
no, this is look, the biggest conceivable thing is it's not the biggest. What I'm not saying is the biggest thing that's been conceived. What I'm saying is it's the biggest conceivable thing, meaning that no thing could be conceived of that's bigger than it. That is impossible to conceive of something bigger than it. That's what it would mean to be the biggest conceivable thing.
Yeah, I think you've kind of just gone.
I think that we probably agree that obviously there is no such a thing. There is no such biggest conceivable thing. Even conceptually, there's no biggest conceivable thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree, I think.
And so it's just not clear to me that like look, and one of the reasons why I don't really like this argument is because it really relies on like what a concept is. So we have like these vague concepts that we kind of just like, we just say these words and we kind of glue the words together and then we think that this is like a meaningful idea. So for example, if I said like, what would be, this alien that lives in the sun is not even quite that, but let's say that like, let's say that I described a mathematical object. That mathematical object has 6 sides, and it has a quadratic circumference, and it has, and it has a volume that is isomorphic to, the long topological line. Like all of those words mean things. They all mean things independently. Right?
I can't like comment on that. I have no idea what that means.
That was kind of intentional. That was intentional. The point is that all of those words mean things independently in mathematics. Like the long line is a topological object, and like quadratic things are things that exist. And we can try to like put these separate ideas together, but there's no guarantee that just because you have these concepts, that these kind of independent concepts, that there's a meaningful way to put them together.
Like fallacy of composition.
I'm not saying that there's a logical fallacy that's happening here. What I'm saying is that we're just not guaranteed it. So like we have this idea of like greatest.
Yeah.
Like we think that like, there's some categories.
But it would be a fallacy. To, to assert that they exist just because they're
to assert that it's conceivable, right?
Okay.
So like we have this conception of greatest. Like if you ask me what like the I don't know, if you ask me what the greatest I don't know the greatest gamer of all time is, I would say like I don't know who I would say. If you ask me who like the greatest chess player of all time of like human history, I would say Bobby Fischer, right? And so like greatest is like greatest is a concept that like makes sense. And then perfect is a concept that makes sense. We can kind of like, even though we don't really have examples of this, it's like a concept that at least makes sense. We can say that like it's like perfectly round, and that would describe like this like ultimate like this perfectly smooth circle. We have this idea of perfect, and we have this idea of a being. You and I are beings, so we have the idea of we have the idea of greatest, we have the idea of perfect, we have the idea of beings, but like we have the idea of possibility, right? We have this idea that like some things might happen but they don't happen, some things might happen but they do happen, these things are possible. So we have like these conceptions of these ideas, and then we try to put them together, and there's no guarantee that the thing that you get from putting those ideas together is itself conceivable. That's what I'm getting at. And I think this is which is why I think it's a problem with this idea behind like a conceptual truth or the greatest conceivable thing, because it's not clear what it means to conceive of something. Is it enough to just say, oh, well, these words all mean something independently and we can form a sentence and then think about the sentence? Or are we really trying to understand what the entirety of the thing would be with all those properties? It just seems very vague and potentially fallacious.
Yeah. To be fair, I think the ontological argument does try to do quite a lot with not that much. But
it would be very, very strange, right? If you could just say greatest, if you could say that the greatest possible X is the thing X
like
that
a beauty
exists.
to it. No, but the thing is with that is when you give like analogies to show why the ontological argument is silly, a theist can always say, well, you're not describing God, you're describing like another thing which therefore couldn't be the greatest because God would be greater than that thing.
But we talk about greatest things in a category all the time, right? So like the greatest gamer,
the greatest X wouldn't work as
the greatest chess player of all time isn't God. But the greatest chess player of all time probably has to exist. Otherwise, they just weren't a chess player they weren't a chess player, right?
Yeah. But I do think that the ontological argument's meant to make like a specific case for God, where I guess you can only invoke existence in his case because he's like meant to be completely powerful.
By the way, I think and there is another argument that I use it occasionally with regards to the ontological argument, which I think it's just something to think about. We don't have to talk about it in depth, but there's this built-in assumption that something is greater if it exists in reality and the mind rather than just existing in the mind. And I think that we have just explicit counterexamples of this, right? Like, for example, the greatest possible war might be the war that has the most casualties, that has the most territory changing hands, that has the most violence or whatever. Maybe that's the greatest possible war. And then I would say that it's better that it exists in the mind than it exists in reality. So it's just not clear to me that existing in reality is greater than existing in the mind.
Well, yeah, I think greatness as a whole, like as you've said, because it's just got so many different things you have to measure in. It's it's quite tricky to. I don't know. I think with things like the greatest possible war or like the greatest possible island, it would fall apart just because of different conceptions of like what's good and bad. Whereas,
well, doesn't the greatest possible God do the same thing
with God? I guess, but I think the idea of omnipotence is more meant to be anything logically possible. So I don't think you could really have a different conception of that.
Would you say that it is greater that a being that's omnipotent know the consequences of its actions than to not know the consequence of its actions?
Well, I can't see the point you're trying to make. But
what I'm trying to get at, and I'll just give away the the
Yeah,
game
give the punchline.
is that it seems like you can't have, if you're going to make the ontological argument, you're certainly not going to be able to avoid being agnostic about whether or not God is all-knowing.
Yeah.
Like, you could say that God must be all-knowing because that's a kind of greatness, or that God is like maximally ignorant, and that would be a form of greatness. But you can't be agnostic about these other axes of greatness, right?
Which like view of all-knowing are you referring to in this case?
Knowing all true facts, perhaps.
So like knowledge of the future as well.
Well, presumably this thing isn't restricted by time, so it just kind of sees it all at once or whatever. Or it knows it all at once.
I guess time mainly becomes a problem when you say that God has to give us free will. But I can't really get behind the idea of an all-knowing being knowing the future. I think it's pretty weird. I mean they can obviously do really good predictions, but I can't imagine like full knowledge.
Well,
and
only if free will exists, right?
Well, yeah.
I mean, but to be clear, there is a way out that I've heard some theists use, which I think is perhaps fair. Namely, that you could have free will, and like free will, if you just define it as like you are the one that's causing the actions, then God could still know what actions you're going to take. It's just God's not the one doing the causing.
Yeah, but that does I think I could be wrong about this, but I think that relies on God like observing all of time at once.
Yeah.
And so it has like weird implications because.
Well, yeah, that's true too.
There's like, I guess him knowing, you could say him knowing isn't causal, but I don't agree with that. I think the only way that could work is if God like I don't even know.
Yeah, I'm a little bit fishy on it too, but I've at least heard people say that.
It's hard to explain because it like really goes against intuition, but
yeah,
it was described to me as him like being in the middle of a circle where the circle is like all possible points in existence, and he's like observing them all at once. So he's
like Doctor Strange. 14 million possibilities, only one where we win. Please tell me you get the reference.
Do I get the reference?
Yeah.
Of course I get the reference.
Okay, just making sure.
My teacher's a nerd, but I didn't really enjoy that movie, unfortunately.
All right, get out of here. Blasphemy. It's the greatest cinematic experience in recent history. Harry Potter reference. No, it was a pleasure talking to him. It was a good dude, a good conversation. All right, let's read some super chats. From Eustace Baggs. Oh, it's supposed to be Eustace Bags, not Eustace Bage. Small donation for good teeth. Good luck tomorrow. I appreciate it. I'm gonna need it, man. Like my medical expenses have been through the roof this year. Like it's crazy. Like I thought that I was good on medical expenses because I reached my out-of-pocket maximum medically, and I forgot about teeth. I forgot that you could have expensive tooth stuff too. From Gordon Love Science, thank you for the $50. It's very generous to help with your dental issues. Enjoy your channel. I always learn something. Well, I'm glad that you learned something, and I do appreciate it. Yeah, it's just like I'm only 32. I shouldn't be having all of these expenses, but yet the world is the way the world is, and we got these, I guess. From Binary Ghost with the $5. Dark matter doesn't exist. You are seeing weird stuff because space has creases and folds. You are looking through the edges of shattered glass. Well, that's a cool idea. I don't think it's true though. I don't know why we would think it's true. And from PCA Cubs with the $5, really great combo just then. I enjoyed that. Yeah, he was super good faith. I appreciate that. It started out a little hairy, but I actually liked the way it went. So, where does the endoscope begin? What? You can get a gold-plated grill now? No, I can't. Just getting a regular root canal and crown is expensive enough as is. Yeah, all teeth stuff is expensive, and I have the worst luck with teeth stuff. Anyway, let me double check that I don't have any Any cash apps? All right, I don't have any cash apps anywhere. So we are going to call the live stream here. I will not be live tomorrow morning. I'm having the root canal tomorrow morning. So if you want to wish me luck, if you want to support me, there is a way to do it. It's through Cash App or through Buy Me a Coffee if you want me to not be miserable. Well, I'll still be miserable, but at least I'll be less miserable because my wallet will be less empty. So that's the way to support me. Until then, I will see you guys on Sunday, which is my birthday. So isn't root canal not recommended? No, I'm pretty sure it's recommended. Root canal is definitely recommended. It preserves the tooth. Anyway, my birthday is on Sunday. So I'll see you guys then for on a